Yes, good people, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. I hope you're all doing well. Please kindly accept, more importantly, Blue Morning to you because, in fact, it is the Blue Morning show. And I hope you're eating blue, sleeping blue, waking up blue, and overall living the blue life. Let's get into the show. Please stick around because quite interesting stuff to talk about today. We'll talk about some news, emerging news, and then we're going to talking about the players to keep make have a debate as to why each of them should be kept should stay at the club or maybe be sold. But stay tuned. It's an interesting one, I promise you. It was interesting yesterday, though we had a bad connection, but it was still a fun show. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, thank you so much and welcome back to the show. Let's get into it. A few items to look at, but before I do that, a few, you could say, structured items to look at before the panelists come in for the debate with regards of to what players to sell and which of them to keep at the club. So let's look at what we have here. Just me, okay, updating you there. And we have Rahayu, the 343 dilemma. Let's go. I cannot wait for the stream to start. Thank you so much, bro, for always finding the time to join the show. More importantly, I appreciate your support and thank you once more again for becoming a member. And to my bro, Mikael, a big up coach. And now, okay, so now in the meantime, I am watching back the 4 hours marathon from yesterday. Yeah, it was a marathon indeed. I was going to stop it, but it was flowing for the order. So why stop it? Just because I was having the issue was coming from my end. And it looks like it didn't sound that bad for people who were watching. But that's by the way, here we go. Kachila, good morning. Good morning to you too. I hope you're well, Chama. How are you? Surprised to see you right now. You're usually at work at this point. So yeah, but good to see you. Here we have, I am going late to office today. Okay, no wonder why you're here. And we have, good morning, Coach Phil Siebes. Nice to see you, Phil. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I appreciate that. So let's start looking at stuff we have here. Just give me a second. I want to make sure my earpiece don't disconnect. Santiago Muno, he says, a morning, Kachila, and everyone. A morning to you too, bro. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for always finding the time to join the show. That means the world to the community. Yeah, to me personally, I have to say that. And this is the first report here. Is that the first one, really? Okay, let's start from here. The first stuff I want us to talk about. Reece James back in training today. That's good to see. He makes us stronger. Although I still argue the fact that he was left out of the squad for the game against Leicester City. I think it was just a precautionary. I can't say that, or precautionary measure. So they don't want to risk him too much. So it makes sense, and glad to see that he's back in training. We move on from that one. I have to shut that one off. My system is struggling. It's a video, so it's going to slow it down. FIFA Council set to approve the qualifying criteria for enhanced 2025 Club World Cup. Yep, okay. Chelsea and Real Madrid will be guaranteed a place in 32 team tournament as winners of 2021 and 2022 Champions League, respectively. So yeah, good opportunity for us to participate in the global club tournament, just to put it right. Pardon me, let me take a sip of my coffee so I don't lose my voice. So what else do we have here? Just give me 1 second. All right. Well, there's nothing else there. I'll move on from that one. And this one here, it says Chelsea Chelsea's interest in Josko Vardio has not disappeared, and the struggle of Kalidou Koulibaly in his debut season in the English game at age 31 mean that the summer transfer cannot be discounted. To me, it just doesn't make any sort of sense to me. I wouldn't say Koulibaly struggled because anybody that understands football quite well will look beyond you know, the reasons most people were saying that, he's failed at Chelsea and all that, just for how many games in total? Just a few games where we had a defense that wasn't properly protected from the 2-6s or whatever you want to call them, and they struggled. And it's a Chelsea team that once it's the end of the game and we're not the winners. Usually, it's a Chelsea team to point fingers, and on multiple occasions, he was the one that was blamed for our losses. So yeah, I didn't think he struggled. I still don't think he struggled. We saw what is very common with players moving from Italy to the Premier League. Not really a struggle for me, just a period that he needs to adapt to the English game. And he did that quickly than most people, than I've seen most people do, actually, if that makes sense. This says, however, there are several factors working against it. The form of Badiashile has improved. This just doesn't make any sense to me. It says the form of Badiashile has impressed. Oh, yeah, that's nothing shocking there. Chelsea's coaching staff, who might be reluctant to stunt the 21-year-old's development by signing another first-team defender. Yeah, even you don't even look to again. You don't even need to look at Badiashile. You even also, it's important you consider how you could say how Levi Colwill will feel about the signing of what's his name, Josko Vardio. They're both the same in the same age bracket. Vardio, I think, is a year older. I think he's 21, and Levi Colwill is 20. So this is a signing that will not make any sort of sense. I think it's just the Athletic trying to put something out there that they know people will be interested in, or maybe just for the clicks. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sort of sense. Plus, it's not going to come cheap. And we're loaded in the defensive area. If anything, there are other areas. You could say we need to look to bring in reinforcements in the attacking area, not necessarily the wing on the flanks. No, the central area. Maybe we need a central attacking midfielder. I know we have Enzo. He's a fine creator and would do more if he has the independence to venture, to be more adventurous on the pitch that he's been for us. But that being said, he's a deep lying playmaker. We need somebody, a traditional, you can say 10 or an 8, who's capable of producing double digits in terms of assists at the end of the season. We don't have that right now. And we cannot say with Enzo we're good. With Enzo alone we're good. No, we need to diversify our chance creation. It has to be coming from the midfielders, from the wingers, and from the 10s or 8s, whatever you want to call them, if that makes sense. But that's, by the way, we're moving from that one. Let me see what those in the chat has to say. My question to you is, will it make any sort of sense, any measure of sense for the club to splash the cash on the signing of Josko Vardio? To me, it doesn't make sense. Yep, he's a good player. It will just end up being like signing a player for the sake of it. And I don't know why Koulibaly comes into this conversation. We're talking about Thiago Silva probably in a year time or so, hanging his boot, and Koulibaly, we can get 4 more years, solid years from him, and he's a leader. We need to mix it up. He has the experience, and he's shown he's capable of leading the back line in the absence of Thiago Silva. So it just doesn't make any sort of sense to say, because Koulibaly is how old? 31. So Vardio is a perfect replacement for Koulibaly. It doesn't make sense. We will just have a bunch of young players in their 20s, and probably none of them experience enough, to lead the back line, if that makes sense. So I don't think the club will even consider selling Koulibaly in the summer. Hushford, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. It looks like the internet is doing quite well today, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I would not expect a coach to be saying bad things about his favorite player, Kalidou Koulibaly. Here's the thing, but I'm being objective. I'm being objective here. I don't think it would make any sort of sense to consider selling him. And Tell me if I lied of what I said about him when when he looked as if he struggled. To me, it wasn't down to him really. The whole team struggled, but of course we have to scapegoat someone for us to be all right. Vardy will cost us 100 million, but I think we will regret it if a City, Madrid get their hands on him. I get your argument. We're not going to sign every good player. What Vardy can do, Vardy can do that. The argument of which of the two players is better than the other is a discussion for another day. Even whatever he can do, you can argue also that Levi Colwill can also do that. And like again, I'm going to say this again: the argument, disclaimer, the argument as to which of the two players is better than the other is a discussion for another day. But I don't think it's an investment that will make sense. It would just be wasting the money in an area where we don't need to make any sort of signings right now. Big up to you too, Glenn. Glenn, I hope you're doing well, brother. Thank you so much for finding this time to join the show. Vardy lost to age-lagged Messi in the World Cup, sadly. Many youngsters were latching on to Messi's pace easily these days, seen in the World Cup and UEFA Champions League, but not Vardy. I wouldn't actually judge him for that. When Messi dribbled him in the World Cup, I think it was on the right-hand side in the game against Croatia. That's the least of my concern, really. The fact is, we're loaded in the defensive area, honestly. If we're being honest here, I don't think it's a signing that will make financial sense. It is also a signing that will make it difficult for, what's his name, Levi Colwill to even consider the new contract that's been offered to him. Do you think Koulibaly is a silver or more human will start diminishing soon? That is why you would bite the bullet and get Vardy. I get the argument. Here's the thing. One thing they have in common is their intelligence on the pitch. Koulibaly is a very, very intelligent footballer. Most of what he does, just watch him play, is again predominantly his way of playing is predominantly defined by his intelligence on the ball, his vision, his passing ability, the way he reads the game. So if he can take care of his body, believe me, he will go as far as silver. And but more importantly, he has the intelligence to be able to measure the longevity of Thiago Silva, but he has to, more importantly, take care of himself. And I think he's capable of doing that. Me here going through exercise to sell greener passes to Chelsea players to see what sticks and whose head gets turned. We have to have these conversations, really. It's you can say it's a tradition in the content for content creators to always look at it, because fans out there who thinks one player or two players or player A, B, C, D should be sold, then it's our job to make it a conversation or maybe a debate, if you prefer, to talk and to reason with the fans and come to a sensible conclusion as to why a particular player shouldn't leave the club, as to why a particular player should stay. It's a discussion that you really cannot avoid, if that makes sense. So I want to say thank you again for the likes. We're at 17 likes right now, but we can actually do better than that. So if you haven't, please do take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And to those of you that are watching that are not participating in the chat, you provide great value to the community also. But if you can do us one more tiny bitty favor, please take a second, drop a like on the stream. The likes do go a long way for us, and nobody will know you did that actually. But more importantly, thank you for watching. You provide value. If you don't have the time to drop a like on the stream, fine. Again, you watching alone does go a long way. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. What else do we have here? Coach, glad to be back from hosting match of the day. To see, I get it. Whatever it is that happened, I haven't actually paid attention to, but I think I have to. Everybody's referencing that situation, I think, with Gary Lineker, one way or the other. I'm not well acquainted with it, but maybe I have to go find out what really happened. Defenders always a struggle when the midfield is too defensively open. Koulibaly is quality. Yep, a lot of people weren't paying attention to the fact that that point that our defense wasn't properly protected. Yeah, because the 2-6s, no matter the combo we went with, they don't do enough to stop the opposition in the midfield area. So there were barrage of attacks on our defense. And what highlights the fact that there was a problem in our midfield was that we did see lots of mistakes from defenders, from Chalobah, from Koulibaly, even on Correa on the left, whoever was on the right at that time, and Kepa emerging as our man of the match for, I think, for at least three consecutive games in a row. But that's by the way we move on from that. I never at any time questioned whether he'd do well at Chelsea or not. We move on from that. This one here says Chelsea and Manchester United are both interested in Borussia Dortmund's Gregor. Is that Gregor? Gregor Kobel. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. They have met with the agent of the Swiss goalkeeper. The 25-year-old has a contract until 2026. There's no release clause. He wants to stay at least one more year with BVB. The Bundesliga side has no intention to sell. We'll move on from that one. This also highlights the fact that the club, maybe they're looking to move on Kepa Arrizabalaga, but we get into that argument of whether to keep Kepa or to sell him. We did discuss that not really to a certain measure during yesterday's show, but not well enough because we had a connection issue. But that's, by the way, let's start talking about this man. And if you're in the chat, I want to know. It's hard to tell what has gone wrong for Callum Hudson-Odoi. The fan base, you could say, golden boy. Everybody preached for Mauricio Sarri to give him an opportunity, and he got the opportunity. And at one point, the rumors were that Bayern Munich were willing to pay up to £17 million to sign him. We refused. We gave him a new contract to ensure that he stays with us, and he agreed and made a public statement that he's always wanted to stay with the club. So, so some people are saying, regretting the fact that we didn't cash in, we didn't sell him when Bayern was interested in securing his signature. Here's the thing: the question is, what really went wrong for Callum? And if you're in the chat, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think went wrong with him before we get into talking about should the club sell him or should the club keep him? But before you decide whether you want the club to sell him or keep him, I'd like you to really pay attention to how old he is. Yeah, it's not like it's over for him. It's not like it's over for him. Let me check again to be sure. Let me check to be sure. Just give me 1 second. Yep, Callum Hudson-Odoi is just 22 years old. But here's the thing: because he emerged onto what football scenes only in his life. Even I think he was just 17 when he made his Chelsea debut. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he's been on the scenes for quite some time now, at least 6-7 years in the highest level. So it's easy to just think he's done because probably people don't pay attention that he's just 22. But if you pay attention to his age, you'd realize it's actually not over for him. But the question is, why did he decide to leave on loan in the first place? Was that his decision? Was it the club's decision? I wanted him to stay because he was really seeing game time under Thomas Tuchel and wasn't as bad as most people was making it out to be. He was still okay. He's been out for a year now, which means he was just 21. He was just 21 when Thomas Tuchel was still the club's manager, and Thomas Tuchel have started to trust him. If anything, you could say, yeah, tough love. He was trying to get him to work even harder, but unfortunately, somehow his head turned. He felt like he should be starting every game. He needs to go somewhere else where he can show probably what he's capable of doing. And yeah, the decision whether to represent Ghana or the the English national team, and all that nonsense talk. But here's the thing, more importantly, before you tell me what you make of this situation, I'd like you to please let me just look at his age. He's just 22. Before you decide whether you think the club should cash in or not, just look at his age. And chances are he goes somewhere else and starts firing on all cylinders, then we'll regret. Then you hear the conversation that it was a stupid mistake to have let him go in the first place. So, but here's the thing. We could try and extend his contract, but he has just about less than a year or so, I'm not sure, but I'm checking a bit on his contract. So it'd be a risk to not get him to put pen to paper to extend his stay at the club before deciding, okay, just go out on loan and improve yourself. So I'm not even sure how to start arguing as to why people should not rush to, rush to the conclusion that the club should sell him or cash in, as usually people put it. I think he has more to offer. He's just 22. We don't want to risk that. Yep, again, I've read that one. And my bro, Bobby Fairview, big up and nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Big up Kuchila Sel. I am struggling with these new January transfers. They are definitely poor. Go rewatch Mudrik's press. Felix, it was obvious. Only Enzo is closer to the current level in our squad. It takes time. The new players give him time. Modric in total, how many games has he played, really? And I think you yourself did mention the fact that he hasn't played football for a while before we signed him. He was just, keeping fit. And we signed him, put him up in the middle of a preseason, so if that makes sense. So I'm really not concerned, but I get where you're coming from. But I really want to get your thoughts with regards to the situation of Callum Hudson-Odoi. What do you think the club should do with him? To me, I think he's a talent. I think it's not too late for him at 22. I think we should find a way to get him to put pen to paper for a new contract, and maybe find him a good loan spell in the Premier League, or even keep him. He's that talent. I think you just need to show him you trust him. I don't know why people think he was struggling under Thomas Tuchel. To me, I think what my argument then was that because he's a player that's known for his flair, especially in his academy days. He showed so much flair, dribbling ability. You could say so much skills. You could say he was so good to watch in terms of the type of skill sets he showed. Then a lot of people forgot that as he matures as a player, you start seeing less and less of those things that he showed during his academy days, because now he's become more mature and will be more team oriented than being an individual player. So most people expect him to be not really as explosive, as more like a showman, really, before they accept, yeah, he's still the same Callum Hudson-Odoi that they watched represent the youth team during his youth days, the club during his when he was still in the club's academy, if that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. I'm not really concerned. I'm not too concerned about that. He will need more than a Miro. Should have taken the 17 million. I get where the argument is coming from. The phrase that he needs a Miro means he needs to look at himself. He needs a fresh start. He needs to look at himself and say to himself, look, I'm not there yet. I need to work harder. Maybe that's what he needs to do, because I think probably Callum Hudson-Odoi's biggest problem is that he probably felt like he's arrived. Under Thomas Tuchel, he's won the Champions League, Club World Cup, the Super Cup, plus part of it, he played Champions League football, played in the cup games of the domestic league, and he at that time he was just 20 and 20, between 20 and 21, which means it's easy as a kid for them to feel like they've arrived and not even work harder to become even better. So he needs to look himself in the mirror and say again, tell himself the truth. He's not there. He's not that player maybe he feels he is, or maybe he hasn't reached that level he feels like he's reached. Maybe that's when things will turn around for him. But at this point, yeah, it's questionable. I just don't understand where it all went wrong for him. Maybe it's down to him because I see people blame Thomas Tuchel. I think that's wrong. It all comes down to him. I don't think Thomas Tuchel pushed him to leave. He wanted to keep him. I think it was him trying to show maybe because let me just say it like I put it before. He felt like he's arrived. So I want to get your opinion if you're in the chat there. Bless up to you too. Let's see what else we have here. Coach, when I saw Cho playing for the academy, I always thought he would be a world-class player. But Chelsea made a mistake not taking that 17 million from Bayern. I would sell him. Can you tell me specifically what made you feel like he will not become, again, it's too late for him, and he will never become a world-class player? I want to know, really. If you elaborate, again, I'd read your comment, and I want to know why you think it's over for him, because that's practically what you're saying. Or maybe you're saying you don't see him becoming a world-class player. He's just 22. I've seen people emerge onto the scenes at age 26 and up, and still ended up, recognized, being recognized globally. So it's not late for him yet, if you understand what I'm trying to say. What do we have here? Apart from our disastrous history with long contracts, Cho is the poster child of big bets on talent are going wrong. Maybe we didn't collect enough data at the time. Gambling. Here's the thing. Do we really need data to see that Cho, how good of a player he is? We don't need that. But something went wrong somewhere. But more importantly, like I said before, probably him. That's why I said he has to. He needs a mirror. He needs to tell himself his truth. He needs to accept that he hasn't arrived. Yes, he's a Champions League winner. Yes, he's a Club World Cup winner. UEFA Super Cup winner. But that doesn't mean you've arrived. He still needs to do some work. He's still learning. He's 22. I'm not giving up on him, but it's not up to me. So I want to get your thought. What do you think the club should do with him? It'd be interesting to see what you say. Should have sold him with a big back, with a buyback clause. I guess that's what you wanted to write there. Okay, but not to Bayern. Bayern wanted to buy him, and again, that's according to the rumors. They wanted to buy him. They wanted him to be their player. They don't want to see any clauses on it, like if he starts firing North cylinders, then we go back to them and say, yeah, we want him back. No, they don't do such business. Big up, everyone. Big up to you too. I hope you're doing well, Martin. I am struggling with press matches. Yeah, I get that argument. Callum needs a mentor, coach, and support. I think that's a solid argument. Mentality may well be the problem he's having right now, and he needs support. And I think he can get that from Chelsea. He's one of us. I wouldn't like a situation where the new owners will say, you know what, to heck with it. It hasn't worked out. Let's just let him go. But he is just 22. He is just 22. There's no, I don't subscribe to that notion that he's done. He's just 22. Yeah, but because he's been there for a long while now, it's easy to look beyond his age and judge him and say it's over for him. It's not over yet. But you have every right to argue what you want to argue. That's up to you. Let's see what else we have here. His touches, passing and pace are still decent. So it's a mental thing. If supported right, he will come good. These things happen to all of us. Sometimes, for one reason or the other, you struggle in whatever vocation you find yourself in. And in this case, it's actually, again, he's very young. I think he still has a way back, but it starts from him. He needs to look himself in the mirror. I'm going to keep saying this until we'll stop talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi. He needs to look himself in the mirror and say to himself, yes, I haven't arrived. I have some work to do to get to where I want to be. That is as simple as that, because if you hire him the best mental coach in the world, support him again, let him have the best support that you can say in the world. It all comes down to him deciding I have what to realize, to him realizing that he has work to do to become better, that he hasn't arrived. It's as simple as that. If that makes sense, I am all for selling Mount for big money at this summer, as we have a headless chicken understudy, Conor Gallagher, to replace Mount, a pointless industry. Here's the thing. I wouldn't go to the extent of calling Mount industry pointless. It can be useful. I have again my argument as to why he he hasn't reached where. I think his case doesn't really differ from that of Callum Hudson-Odoi, because the truth is, the argument, if you pay attention, is really to some people, if some people that are objective, I think he hasn't reached where we all thought he'd be able to reach as a player, or maybe he lost form, because had he been scoring goals like he did maybe under Frank Lampard, creating chances like he did under Frank Lampard, and sometimes under Thomas Tuchel, the argument will most likely be different right now. That's in the case of Mason Mount. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's the worst player at Chelsea, and I don't think he's the best player at Chelsea. But his case, again, I really don't want to get into it, because I have a different argument as to why his situation is as it is right now. Yeah, I get it. That's a response to me. What he said there. With everything going on regarding Mason Mount, I have zero interest in keeping Cho. To be honest, both young, and Cho already had a salary dispute under Roman Imagine-Boehly. That's something that I think will be a problem. Yeah, that will be a serious issue, in the sense that he's already one of the top earners at the club, and with the current form, I don't see the owners. Because it's only natural that when you're negotiating a new contract, you've been negotiating for a salary increase. In this case, he has no solid argument in terms with regards to his form. His form has been awful. So he's not going to be able to negotiate a salary increase. So the question now is, will they be able to say, okay, we'll keep your current salary, but we want to keep you? I don't see that happening. Probably they'd look to reduce his current salary, or maybe put him on on the new structure, which is with performance incentives and all that. So yeah, that's an excellent point right there. His salary will most likely be an issue. So, but if he's truthful to himself, he has to look himself in the mirror and ask himself the question, will anybody else in anywhere in the world pay him that much money? Is he worth that much money right now? And the truth is no. As much as I think we shouldn't ditch him, or let me say I think we shouldn't sell him, I think he has to take a pay cut for me to say, yeah, that'd be okay. Take him back. Give him the platform to rediscover himself, because that's what he has to do right now, and accept the fact that he hasn't arrived. He has work to do to become a better player, if that makes sense. Coach, isn't his past injury Achilles tendon? This injury is different than hamstring, and an ACL. By difference I mean worse than. You could say that, but again, after that injury, he's shown that he's overcome it. It took him a while. I think sometimes you could say, I think I sensed something like him being a bit reluctant to go in for a tackle or something like that. But I think he's past that. At one point, he showed flashes of what he's capable of doing under Thomas Tuchel, especially the game against Tottenham, where he drove with the ball from the left-hand side and then was able to exploit the space in the half space, and then moved in to the right-hand side and passed it to Ziyech, who finished very well on the day. To me, I think he's moved beyond that. So that injury isn't the issue right now. I think it's a mentality thing, like Martin did say. But everything, even to solve a mental problem, it starts with the player himself. In this case, my argument, I'm going to keep repeating this until we stop talking about him, is he has to, again, come to the realization that he hasn't arrived. He hasn't achieved anything in football. The Champions League, yeah, I get it. World Club Cup, I get it. This UEFA Super Cup, I get it. No, that's not enough. He hasn't arrived. He has to accept, yeah, I have a lot to learn. That will go a long way for him, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. Whatever helps you get your rocks off, mate. Back three, don't need no man. Okay, you slug it out with him there. He's like Pulisic. It may take time to change their game due to a significant injury. The right form doesn't always return right away. He was great So I think Porter can work with him. I think he can because we have worse players in the squad, if that makes sense. But everything starts with Cho. If you get my argument, everything starts with the player himself. He has to hit the reset button again and start afresh. Salmount, Sani Abubakar, I hope you're doing well. Thomas Pace, thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I hope you're doing well. And people, we have 35 likes. We can do better than that. If you haven't, please do take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And pardon me, I have to take a sip of my coffee so I don't lose my voice. Thank you so much for participating. Please keep dropping the likes on the stream. 35 likes. We should be doing better than that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Sell Mount, I saw that. But you can't just say sell Mount. Why do you think we should sell him? You have to back, again, whatever you think should happen. It's not okay to just say sell Mount. Sell him. Why? Why do you want the club to sell him? We want to know. Let's see what we have here. Neum, Cho doesn't even get the chance to prove himself. The guy probably has an attitude on him. How do you know that? I really want to know. Cho is finished, and there's no point of pretending otherwise. He has not shown anything for 4 years. The injuries beat him in, but that's life. So you think he's done? Okay, I remember you said that. To me, at 22, I don't think he's done. I think he has at least 2-3 more years to rediscover himself. But everything starts with him, like I've argued, if that makes sense. His mentality, more importantly. At Chelsea, you're done if you have a bad game. Coach, forget it. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Good afternoon, Kachila and everyone in the chat. Big up to you, my bro, DJ. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join this show. Kai Havertz spent all of the first half covering for Mudryk. Okay, you're having a conversation with Mikhail because the distraction going from one topic to the other, it can be very tiring, really. But FIFA matches in here saying we don't need to press. Okay, you slug it out with him. Yes, a structure. Yes, a structures, data, all that, and then every single week we keep getting linked to either Neymar or whatever FIFA merchant is in with the kids and cost 250 million. The links to Neymar doesn't make any sort of sense to me. PSG spent quite a lot of money for him, and it hasn't worked out. And what next we're hearing is that we're really serious about trying to sign him. Good thing the player himself said he wants to finish his career at PSG. Let's see. Hopefully they don't go and sign him. He's injury prone. He's barely played for PSG actually after they spent that much money for him. Okay, let's see. All right. So mentality wise, do you reckon Inoka could help him? It could help him then. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Mentality wise, I think is capable of helping him rediscover himself, if that makes sense. It's part of the whole process. But beyond Enoch, more importantly, I'm going to say this is the reason I said Callum Hudson-Odoi needs a mirror. He needs to look at himself, do a self-assessment, and tell himself the truth, and or maybe come to the realization that he hasn't arrived. He hasn't achieved anything in football. He's not a complete. Again, he still has a lot to learn. That will go a long way. Mentality coach or not, he has to come to the realization that he hasn't arrived, that he still has a lot to learn. That will go a long way, if that makes sense. Havertz offers more than Mount, in my opinion. Okay, go ahead, have the conversation. As long as you guys are keeping it civil, that's fine. Again, sell Mount or stocks rose after the Cucurella Havertz shares dropped, coach. Let me get that again. Sell Mount. Okay, sell Mount stocks rose after the Cucurella Havertz shares dropped. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. How is it going? Okay, just saying hello. Callum is not a Chelsea caliber player. Think about the player we currently have and try to fit him in, and you will see why he can go. Really, you started the argument. You elaborate so that we can get your point clearly and see where you're coming from. Yes, people, thank you so much for 38 likes. We should be doing better than that. If you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream, And please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes will go a long way. In a bad mood, today, mate. A boss sent me home for 3 weeks. Whoa, sorry to hear that, brother. Never a good thing. It shall be well. At least you were not fired. So yeah, stay strong and try not to think about it too much. I think you're good. The good thing is that you didn't lose your job. You still have a job. But I'm so sorry to hear about that, bro. Much love here. For us, I hope you are doing well. Okay, just saying hello to somebody there in the chat. Let's see what else we have here. Phil Sip says, Coach, I have a feeling we will win the Champions League this season. Well, never say never. Never say never. And if you're having just make it a debate. Please don't take anything personal in the chat. Mount agenda is okay. I think Mikael is mature enough to. You two are mature guys. Coach, I have a feeling. Yeah, like I said, never say never. It can happen. Oof, that's hash, Coach. What did I say? That's hash, really. I want to know. The 343 dilemma, what have I done wrong? Please do let me know, and I will apologize. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a bright blue day. Remember, keep smashing the like button, and please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. I really appreciate that. He has not achieved anything in football. Yeah, that's you can say that's he has to reset his mentality. He shouldn't start seeing himself as if he's arrived for having won the Champions League, the Europa Super Cup, and the Club World Cup. If he starts thinking like that, he'd work harder and become better, or maybe be able to achieve what he's capable of achieving. And by the way, his loan move at Leverkusen actually started well. So I don't know what went wrong there too. So yeah, if you get my point, yeah, he has not achieved anything. That's the sort of mentality you want to see. He should be aiming for more, and aiming for more means he have to work harder to get to achieve more. So if that makes sense, I know you knew exactly what you were doing before you typed that. So yeah, he hasn't achieved anything. That's the mentality I want to see. Yep, words are harsher than TT's summing him off. I get it, but I get where you're coming from. I will let you have the last word there. Since I started this, no disrespect, just banter. I am not in favor of discussing any player sale this early. Seeing how you get your backs up when I propose. Okay, you have that. Like I said, you two are very mature not to take anything personal there. Coach Potter finally starts waving the wand. I'm going to say this as much as I've said. We're talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi now. I want to get your thought whether you think the club should sell him or keep him. But I'm going to humor you and rate this. Yeah, to me, it's too early for me to say he's waving the wand now. Well, we have a lot more players back, but some credit to him for the selection and also the changes he made to see off the game. But that's, by the way, I still have questions. Selling Mount, that's how I feel about discussing any player sale in the middle of match. Yeah, I understand that. I know you fully well to know that's the case with you. Let's see what we have here. Anything else? I think I'm having a lot of fun reading your comments, but you can do me a favor, interacting with you, better put, but you can do me a favor to make sure whatever you're putting in the chat is aligned with the current topic, so that about player sales at the keeper. But right now, we're talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi. Not doing well right now. I've been sick with the flu for 3 days now. Get well soon. Sorry to hear that. I hope you get well. I am just trolling the topic today. Yep, I see that. Playing the devil's advocate. Big up Pachila in the chat. Chelsea all the way. Big up, brother. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I appreciate that. What do we have? I get what coach is getting at. I mean, Ryan Bertrand won a Champions League trophy too. Where is he at? Thank you so much. That's just a prime example. That is just a prime example. I appreciate that. Yep, he won the Champions League with us. I think he won one more trophy, actually. Didn't he win the FA Cup with us? But where is he? Yeah. So if the moment you feel like you've arrived, that's it. The moment you feel like you've done it all, then there's no need. Even even without knowing it, it may well be subconsciously you start slacking. You stop doing what you need to do to become even better. So it all starts with the individual, if that makes sense. So thank you so much for saying that. I think I'm going to use it to make a very short video too. I hope I don't forget. Thank you so much for that. The hunger should never stop. One, yep, not enough gango. Yep, I get that. So that's a solid argument there. Because the truth remains, for instance, the case of Mendy, I think it was Emperor on the panel that argued, because in football, the hunger in the player, it can define the player's career. It can define what the player is capable of achieving in his career. For instance, I think it was Emperor that used the case of Edouard Mendy as an example. Mendy was excellent for us. Yeah, but Emperor's argument was that at one point it looks like it just seemed as if he lost the hunger he had when he joined us. Yep. So the hunger in a player can go a long way. Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that, again, when a player again stays in a bad form for a long while, it's usually not easy to recover. That's just referencing the case of Edouard Mendy. Sometimes what you need is a fresh start, which could mean leaving the club, or and all the more, you could say the only option in most cases would be leaving the club. That's how you get a fresh start. Fresh starts again, because it depends on who you have in the starting 11 before you get a chance to even deputize for that person, or take the number one spot again, if that makes sense. So yeah, Glenn, thank you so much. You're on fire today. I love that contribution there. I believe we'll have a good chance at winning the Champions League because Munich is our biggest problem. Bayern Munich is our biggest problem in the league. Okay, thank you for saying that. Okay. Catch me outside. How about that? No worries, bro. It comes over. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is some serious thing I'm seeing in the chat today. But I know Glenn is joking too. Odoi is a keeper because he's experienced. He's an experienced player and still have more room to develop. At 22, I agree with you. I don't think anyone has seen the Ocho for 4 years. He's also, when you say, I disagree, really. On the Graham Potter, I've seen, on the Thomas Tuchel, I did see flashes of what Cho is capable of doing. And in those games where people were complaining that he was poor, he wasn't poor. Even if you look at the numbers will tell you he wasn't poor. But a lot of us don't look beyond what we see. Beyond the eye, don't look beyond the eye test. And to me, even with the eye test, he did what the manager demanded of him, because he did relatively well under Thomas Tuchel. Yeah, but again, that's, by the way, that's my argument really. I think the whole thing, the whole issue of whether to keep him or not to keep him will eventually come down to how much he earns, his current salary, because he's one of the biggest earners at the club. Let's see what the club does with him. The club has lost enough on him. Let me start again. I don't think anyone has seen the old Cho for 4 years. He's also very expensive, which I'm sure contributes to the mental aspect. Mental aspect of his problem. The club has lost enough on him. Time to cut and run. What if he agrees? What if they propose to him to take a pay cut and stay, and he agrees? But we'll see. The truth is, the good thing for him is that there will not be shortage of clubs interested in his signature, but he has to take a pay cut, most definitely. Bailey, good day, coach. Good day to you too, brother. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for finding the time to join the show. I appreciate that. Much love to you, brother. Again, I love you so much. Rahayu, 343 dilemma. I appreciate that. Yeah, I agree with you. He needs that. He needs fortitude. The media hyped Cho too young and made him believe that he's better than he was. Injuries humbled him now. Aaron Judge, I think that's another part of his problem. I would agree with that. They hyped him so much that he probably felt like he's arrived. when he hasn't even achieved anything. That's even before he won the Champions League. He was hyped so much that at one point I was concerned that was going to be an issue. So I agree with you. And that reminds me of the case of the former U.S. international. What's his name again? Is it Daniel Adu or Ado? Who could also represented Ghana had he wanted to, but he decided to represent the U.S. He was good, but the hype was so much that even it got into his head. If you hear him speak, you'd feel like he's an again. You'd realize, yeah, the hype has gotten to him. Plus, he had to sue some people for using his photo for something. Again, I'm not going to get into that, but the hype can actually be a problem for young players. If you hype them, the moment they feel like they've arrived, they will stop learning. They will stop learning. And you could argue that may well has been one of the, again, Callum Hudson-Odoi's issues. But that's by the way. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, Odoi just needed to be more of a team player before he returns to the club. Here's the thing: the way I see it, the main reason why this is with regards to your comment. The main reason why most Chelsea fans don't feel like, again, it feels like he's lost it. That he's not the Odoi they knew during his academies. Days or that played in the Chelsea Academy, maybe better phrased. It's because he's become more of a team player than an individual player, He's not always trying to show off. He's not always trying to take on his man. That's one of the reasons why some people even when he was still at Chelsea. So that's one of the reasons why some people started thinking, looks like he's lost it. Yeah, but that's the least of my concern. The whole thing, again, like I've said, starts with him. Josko Vardio is coming to Chelsea for 90 million in the summer. Well, I have my argument. Like I said, it's a signing that wouldn't make any sort of sense. But we have a problem. Before he comes, we need to make some sales. Yeah, again, we're close to getting into trouble with the FFP, that we even had to, according to rumors, to go to the FA to say, to be lenient with us, or maybe to consider the fact that we had issues and something along that line, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Josko would be a good signing, but a signing that doesn't make sense, really. I am salty about the Cho debate because it reminds me of Musonda Jr., the injury, the comeback, similar stories. But Musonda didn't even get the chance that Cho got. Charlie Musonda didn't get the chance. Cho got injured, stayed. Cho got injured, stayed at the club kept him. They were patient with him. He recovered. They gave him opportunity. In the case of Musonda, he recovered. I don't think he was given the opportunity at all. Yeah, I don't think he was given the opportunity. And for me, Musonda, he didn't even how do I phrase it? I think Musonda did not you can say he's a player with a strong mentality. It's not that I don't see anybody come out and say he had an attitude issue. No, he worked very hard and always stayed. But unfortunately for him, I think he's one player I need to make a video and ask questions what really happened in his case. What's Odoi's best spot? I saw him used as a 10 in Germany. I don't think he's a 10. I think Odoi is better utilized on the flanks. Yep, he's better utilized on the flanks. I don't think as a 10. No, it doesn't make sense. But he can also play as an 8, maybe. Thomas Tuchel have used him as an 8, as one of the 2 8s against Tottenham away. I think that was in 2021 or so. And he was excellent on the day. He was actually one of the best players on the day. I know he didn't get a goal, but he was one of the best players on the day. So, let's see what we have here. It's better with Sal Pulisic over Odoi because Odoi is showing more potential. Wow, some argument. You have to elaborate even more. Kachila, it was game after game without any final product. Yeah, but again, here's the thing. Are you judging him? I love you, bro, but are you judging him just for the final product alone? If you can pay attention to other aspects of his contributions, whenever he had the opportunity to play for us, you'd keep him. Honestly, he can be productive. He doesn't have to score to me to say he was productive in the game. For instance, that game I mentioned, the away game against Tottenham, I think we beat them 2-0 or 2-1, I don't remember. He was one of the best players on the day and was deployed as one of the 2-8s. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I get the final product in terms of the finishing and all that. And I remember the game that he missed a chance. I think it was against United. And I think the game ended in a draw. Did we lose? I don't remember. He was being, again, abused because of that miss. But yeah, I get it. There's more to him, being able to put away the chances. But and it hasn't happened in terms of missing chances. It hasn't happened too many times that you say that amounts to him being a bad player. Maybe I am forgetting the stats. What are you looking at? Like the day he played as one of as one of the 2-8s against Tottenham, he was one of the main reasons why we started Tottenham. We didn't allow them play. He contributed in the build-up play and sometimes dropped deep to help. He helped us keep the ball and was a thorn. He was a serious pain to the Tottenham defense. So there's more to his game that we pay attention to. But here's the thing: we can argue from now to tomorrow. The truth remains that his salary is a big problem. For the club to decide to even keep him, he has to take a pay cut. It's as simple as that. Most of the fan base wrote off Koulibaly. Players are easily written off after a couple of bad games. Football isn't a computer game, and Koulibaly in his case actually didn't have a couple of bad games. He didn't have a couple of bad games. It's just that it's a Chelsea thing to finger point. It's a Chelsea thing to find a particular player and blame when results don't go in our way. But again, when we win games, even if we're not the better team on the night, everybody forgets about how badly we played. If that makes sense. Freddie Adu, next player. Yeah, Tayo. I think you know why. Yeah, the talk, the hype around Freddie Adu. I liked him as a player, but I sensed his attitude also was an issue. The hype got into his head. He was poorly managed. Probably I don't know who was who worked in his camp at that time. But that's by the way. We move on. Chelsea signed a new Jamaican, by the name of Whisper to the youth academy. I feel very good to hear this. I pray that place academy can make what you're trying to say there. And big up my bro Mikhail for the contribution. I appreciate that, brother. Big up coach. Big up Blues chat. Coach, this is me paying my fine here for my recent. Miss Devil, you don't have to, bro. Here's the thing. I think Bobby Fairview understands. He's civil, and you're civil too. He understands that you're trolling, and he knows you quite well. Knows you like to again make the argument make sense by asking questions from an opposing perspective, and it makes sense. So he understands. So do not worry about that too much. But again, thank you so much. I appreciate that, bro. I will wear the clown hat today. Big up to my brothers, Bobby Fairview for fighting the good fight. Again, trust me, he understands, and he's never the one to take anything personally. But again, much love to you, brother. I appreciate the contribution. Thank you so much. The donation to the channel. I cannot thank you enough for always supporting. My first ever guest on a live show was Mikhail, and my first video that hit 1,000, I think, was also with Mikhail. So thank you so much. The video we did, the scouting video we did, I think for Dusan Vlahovic. I appreciate that. Tayo A say Ruben Loftus-Cheek should not be sold. He is very versatile, can play Mikhail role, right back, 8 center back. We should keep him. I don't think we should play him in the center back, deploy him in the center back role. I don't think he should also play him in the deep lying role. He's always played there as in a situation where we need to patch things off. I think he's better utilized on the flanks. The wing back position, I would take him. He's fulfilled that role quite well, helps overload the midfield and the attacking area and creates good chances from there. But I really hope and pray that one day Graham Potter plays him as an 8. I don't think we have any 8s in the team better than Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Yes, again, maybe we have 8s that can press better than him or that are quicker than him. But of all the players we have that have played in the 8th position from the time of Thomas Tuchel till now, I don't think anybody can fulfill that role as good as Ruben Loftus-Cheek, honestly. And on his day, he's a fine finisher. And again, he has good vision in terms of creating chances. And his chance creation mostly comes on the carpet. If you remember his salary days or any time he's played as an 8. But unfortunately for him, I don't think the managers will ever give him opportunity in that position. But that's, by the way, Musonda, I think, is once read again. There was a 15% chance he could play again. Now, but he fought. He loved football so much. He fought, did all he could, all he could do to come back, and he did well. I was over the moon when I saw him recovering well. One of the greatest talents we'll ever see. Yep. It breaks my heart because I love him so much, really. Coach, you're the most passionate person over standing up for our players, rooting players who are out of form, etc. I so love. Here's the thing, and I'm being objective about it, really. I can give you solid reasons as to why, a certain player we shouldn't sell them or not. I want us to round up with the Cho argument because we have other players I want us to talk about. Kachila, how many CBs you think is needed if we play a 3 at the back? Considering Thiago Silva is 38, now we have Fofana, Badiashile, Koulibaly, Chalobah, Colwell. I think one more Vadio, if that's how you say it. I don't think it's a signing that will make sense. Honestly, I don't think it's a signing that will make sense. It would just be spending money for the sake of it. Final or maybe what in the business world, what you call good to have. Just to get him because we have to get him because he's value. And had Levi Colwell gone to the World Cup with England, I think it also get the same respect as him. But I'm not comparing them. I'm not getting into the argument as to which of the two players is better than the other, if that makes sense. Our final product can be more than goals and assists. How about a Cho starts unsuccessful crosses and dribbles? Here's the thing. Those games that I talked about, he did well. We showed he has more to him. You just need to trust him. I get it. He's faltered on occasions. And on occasions, he's looked as if he's reluctant to take on his man. So it's a solid argument, but maybe you and I need to make a video. I think I'd love to because I've seen you on the panel. I know how articulate you can be with your point. Maybe we need to make a video whether Cho has failed or whether he's done well. Again, from the perspective of his time at Chelsea, I think it would be cool, but I get where your argument is coming from. Yep, you have a solid argument to that. We need Pulisic for depth, but would Pulisic be stay and be a player who wouldn't, if he doesn't start 2 games and then will start his dad putting out tweets? I don't think he'd be the guy. I don't think he'd accept being the guy. He wants to be the guy that starts every game, and at Chelsea, that's not possible, if that makes sense. So I don't think he stays if he senses that he's not going to be starting many games, which I say just let him go because, he's the poster boy for football in the United States. Big up. I cannot see a way back for Cho, especially with all the changes at the club. In a recent interview, he spoke about ING. What does that stand for? Is on his mind. He spoke about what's on his mind. Paul Loan, when he had big chances to get career on track under Thomas Tuchel, but probably it was his decision to leave because he hated the tough love from Thomas Tuchel. That's how I see it. If that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. What do we have? Would like Thiago to join the coaching staff at Chelsea for defenders after he retires. I would say let's do that because since we're hiring specialities for every position, why not do that for the defensive area for every role at the club? Why not keep him? I think it'd go a long way. Maybe I'd say mainly the defense. You can say the scouting department. because it's Thiago Silva. If you're a Brazilian kid, if Thiago Silva picks up the phone and calls you and says Chelsea wants you, you'd listen to him. Again, Barcelona, they did that. They do that with a lot of their South American connection. I think Real Madrid do that too. So we should start doing that. We should keep him beyond his playing career. He has a lot more. I think he'd do more for us in terms of recruiting players from that part of the world. And like I've mentioned, if he calls and say Chelsea wants to sign you, and you say who's speaking, and he says this is Thiago Silva, it'd be difficult for you to say no. So he has a lot that he can offer to us. I'd say the scouting department rather than our recruitment department rather than the coaching department, if that makes sense. But there's a chance he would want to become a coach. And I'm not sure why we're not using all our past South American players such as David Luiz, Willian, Oscar, and Ramirez. Ramirez, who still follows Chelsea, and Oscar, who still does the same. Use them as ambassadors, just like Real Madrid and Barcelona do. That gives them edge in terms of signing players from that part of the world, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. Callum should be sold. If you think about the players, we presently have for the position he plays, Callum will be in the squad and not regular not regular, but on the bench. Okay, that's a solid argument. I like it when you present your argument and you make sure it is complete, saying why you think something should be certain way or the other. What else do we have here? A fact, Kachila RFC may be our best eight up. Yep, I don't hide my feelings whenever I argue that. Musonda's story is a very sad one. It breaks the heart, really. I love him so much. And we had two of him. We had him and his brother too at the club at that time. Yes, please go check out John Potts Entertainment's YouTube channel. He's doing a good work in Jamaica, helping again ensure that the kids are occupied instead of turning into bad stuff. Like a lot of bad stuff go on in so many places. But he's doing a good job keeping them busy. So please go check out his YouTube channel. Support him if you can, but subscribe more importantly. Ruben Loftus-Cheek doesn't get into this lineup. We need to cash in on him immediately. You need to elaborate. Why do you think? You need to elaborate. That's why we're here. If Roger is Sports lawyer, we know who chose lawyer is now. Okay. Gabriel is calling me Callum Hudson-Odoi is lawyer. I'll take that and I will defend him, but I will still tell you there's a problem. His salary will be an issue. The reason he may not, again, the club may not look to extend his stay at the club. Smash the like button, people. We have 59 likes. Let's get it to 60, 70, 80, and 100 as soon as possible, if that makes sense. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yep, smash the like button, support the channel. All haters in the mode. As simple as that, we keep growing. Thank you so much for saying that, Bobby. I appreciate you saying that. Was running out of character. Okay. Callum would just rot on the bench. He is not a prolific goal scorer, really. Hello, Chelsea family. How are you? How are you too? I hope you're doing well. Big up, Mikael. I actually didn't know you were trolling. If I did, I would have played along. Okay, you woke up too serious this morning, but I appreciate that. I know you're an intelligent individual, so grace to you over there. Let's talk about this man right here. The argument, especially yesterday, I think it was DJ. I think it was it DJ that started talking about whether Chelsea should cash in on cash in on Kepa Arrizabalaga or not. To me, I don't think we should. But a lot of people, whenever he comes again, here's the thing. I think Chelsea fans, like I said, that has always been the case. He's been in brilliant form for us. He's been the reason why we haven't lost 10 million games since Graham Potter took over. And yet, once he concedes a goal, people will find a reason to say he should be sold. And again, his height comes into question. There are some excellent saves. When you look at them, even though he's not the tallest on the pitch, he was still able to reach them. First of all, I get it. The goal we considered against Leicester City, why not question the ability of the 2-6s to read the game and at least commit a foul. I would take a foul on the edge of the penalty kick, let alone again deciding letting the player take the shot. So I wouldn't blame Kepa Arrizabalaga, and one of the people who blamed him is here on the panel. So,
I didn't blame him. Honestly, I've come to defend myself.
Yeah, you okay? Okay, good for you. Big up, DJ. We're talking about Cho. You want to say anything about Cho before we move on to Kepa Arrizabalaga? Your thoughts on the situation of Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Yeah, listen, I think you've said a lot of it. But first of all, Kachela, big up to you and big up to everybody in the comments.
Big up to you too, brother, and thanks for finding time to join.
Nah,
I don't know. You're not at work today?
I'm at work, brother. We're having a massive revamp done in the office. So what they've told us to do is they're all making us work. We're getting stuff done. So they asked us to working at home for a while now until they get that all sorted. So systems update, we're getting systems update and everything. But yeah, I'm glad to be actually working from home. But no, going back to the whole thing of Cho, I've said it. I think I said it a few times in here. I mean, obviously with the situation with Cho, he's gone on loan. And obviously I want to see that loan work out for him. I think what I'll say about Callum Hudson-Odoi is, yes, I agree. He needs game time. 100% he needs game time. And if he can come back in pre-season and see what he can do in pre-season, if it's still not good enough and the club feel they need to move on players, then I can understand him going. Because as you know, I'm a big advocate of Callum Hudson-Odoi. I really wanted to see this really, really, really well in our team. But I will still hopefully keep the fight for him and still hope he can come in and do something. But like you said, he needs to show us that he wants to be here. He wants to say to himself, you know what, I've got another opportunity to come back, do something at the club and see what I can do. He's got a lot of competition up against him though. Let's not hide away from that fact. And it might be just difficult for him to get back into this team, especially with his injury record as well. It's very difficult for him. He needs to get over his injury fully, I think. And whether he's done, I don't think he personally has got over it yet. And I think we're seeing him struggle because of that reason. And unfortunately for a player of his caliber and his skill, I mean, for a player of his age and his skill set, he's picking up injuries too quickly. And I think with him now, we're not seeing the best of him now, like we did in the very, very beginning. But I hope he can fight and he can find a way at least back into the Chelsea. If he can't, then yeah, there's a possibility we may have to cash in on him, which would be a sad day as it goes when that happens. Because obviously, as I said, he's come from our ranks, and I'd like to see him do well. But it's one of those things.
Do you buy into the idea that he's done?
I don't think he's done personally. No, I know he's had injuries. I don't think he's done.
He's just 22.
He's 22. I think he can get given an opportunity. I think, as I said. But if you look at our situation, where the way we're playing at the moment, the players that we're buying, okay, people would say, yeah, he'd fit into that age gap, into that age bracket, because we're buying all young, hungry, talented players. Now he would fall into that category. The difference is obviously he's come through our ranks, right? So he could still fall into that category off that. However, when you look at the other players that are around, and you've got Madueke, you've got Modric. Those two players are in there. You look how many years contract they've gone and signed for us as well. Will he get into that team? Pulisic is probably going to end up going possibly in the summer. There's Ziyech who's going to possibly go in the summer. You then say, okay, are they going to bring somebody else in to replace those two players? Is Callum going to be that guy to come in? Don't forget, you've also got Raheem Sterling there as well. So you've got three already there. So there's only one more place if they're looking at wingers to bring in there. Who can that be? Would it be Callum? Do we then make the deal? Make João Felix still a permanent deal, or do we just or what happens? I hope he can get the chance. I always say give players a pre-season. Come back, let him see what he can do, because I do believe Graham Potter wanted to see him. Wants to see him. So if he's still our manager, come the summertime. Okay, if he wants to see.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you drop.
If he wants to see him in pre-season, and from what I understand, when Todd Boehly let him go to Leverkusen before, I do believe when the whole season started, he did tell him apparently he was very much part of the club's future and plans. How true that is, I don't know. Todd Boehly apparently told him this personally. How true that is, I don't know. We'll have to just see when it happens in the summertime comes, Coachella.
What do you make about his salary? Because I think that's going to be the stumbling block.
What's he on?
But if he's being truthful to himself, like I said, that's why I use the language. He should look in the mirror. He needs a mirror.
Yeah.
He needs to realize, okay, that part of it should be him realizing he hasn't arrived. He has a lot to learn, because I think his biggest problem is feeling like he's reached that level. He's won the Champions League and all that. And he has to say, okay, I haven't won anything. Just let him feel like he hasn't won anything. Let him feel like he's still at the academy working hard to get into the first team. I get it. But part of it also has to be, he has to tell himself the truth. Am I what I'm earning right now? Because before Chelsea offers him a new contract, I think he'd have to take in a pay cut. Because the loan move, he started well, but he fizzled out. It doesn't help him in terms of arguing for a pay raise, and arguing for a pay raise wouldn't make any sort of sense. Wherever he goes, I think he has to take a pay cut. I don't think any team will take him and say, okay, we're capable of paying you what you're earning, or pay you even more. So whether you think, again, his salary, don't you think it would be an issue?
What's he on now? Is he like on 120k a week, isn't he?
Around that. He was one of the biggest signers at the club.
Yeah, when he signed that new contract. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, look, again, it's all going to come down. I mean, he signed that contract now. I don't know. I'm not sure. He signed it for 5 years, didn't he? And that was going back when Lampard was manager, wasn't he? I think when Lampard came in, he signed that new
contract. That period, but I don't think he has much left on his contract. He's less than 18 months left on his contract.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's not going to change. That's not going to change. That's what his contract's all about, unless Todd Boehly decides to rip up his whole contract and give him a brand new one, which that's going to happen in that way. He'll still see out that contract on that amount of money. The question the question I say for Cho is this: is how badly does he want to come? How badly does he want to come back to Chelsea and make it? Because as I said, I do rate the kid quite highly. As I said, I've watched him. I had the opportunity to watch him when I used to go and watch Chelsea a lot. I watched the youth team play, and he was one of my. I used to say to my dad when we used to go and watch them, I used to say, watch out for this kid. I think this kid is going to be the kid that could be our future, going forward. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out to be that. He came into the team. He started off his career. He started off well. Then it started to go. Then he got that bad injury. Then things started going completely backwards for him. Look, for me, Kachilla, I think if he's going to come back to Chelsea, he needs to work hard to get in there, because we all know, and Glenn made a very good point earlier on when I read his comment, which is big up to Glenn, by the way, about Ryan Bertrand, because when he won the Champions League, and and Glenn said it on the comment, no one saw him after that. Where did he go? Ended up going. I think he ended up going to Southampton, didn't he? So yeah, so we need to see that doesn't happen for Cho as well. But as I said, he's going to have a hell of a fight for him when he comes into this Chelsea team next season if he comes back, because as I said, he's got loads of players up to go up against. And I've already mentioned the names of them already. It just depends on how hard he's willing to work to get back into this Chelsea setup.
Yeah, let me catch up with the chat. We'll go to talking about Kepa Arrizabalaga as quickly as we can, because we have other players lined up. Otherwise, we'll have a part 3 of this. I think we should cash in on Kepa and sign a new goalkeeper. It's not that Kepa is bad. It's really just his size and his hesitation and timing to commit. I think the biggest problem will be his salary. I think Graham Potter trusts him, but let's see what happens. I love these young players we are getting, but let's be honest, we need experience, quality to lead to greatness. That brings me again, big up to you, Chelsea All Boys. That brings me to this argument right here. Something we talked about here. Somebody suggesting something with regards to signing Vardiol. Vardiol will not be able to replace Koulibaly. Is he a fine footballer? He's a fine footballer, but he's not as experienced as Koulibaly, if that makes sense. If we let Koulibaly go and bring in Vardiol, then we have a bunch of young players with no assured leadership in our backline, and that's going to be a huge problem. But that's, by the way, we're moving from that. We're talking about Kepa Arrizabalaga now. And my bro JC says, "Big up, coach. How are you? I'm well. I hope you're well too." Kepa has a save percentage of save percent of 80% this season. It is one of the best this season. Yep, but like I said, we're Chelsea fans. Once the goalkeeper concedes one goal, they'll find a reason to kill him. And the chief lawyer of those thinking he's too short and should go is on the panel, and I'm going to put him on the spot as many times as I want. Let's go to DJ Slab. Chelsea Old Boy saying hello to you.
Big up Chelsea Old Boys. Big up to you.
He's been brilliant. Then we have a problem. Mendy came because he wasn't good enough. It wasn't about being good. I think there was some mentality issue then, and he wasn't that bad really. At that point you were talking about. because we couldn't defend. At that point on the ground, under Frank Lampard, we couldn't defend. Really, if we're being honest, had Frank Lampard stayed on and Mendy came in, Mendy would still had that again. He still would have had the issues that Kepa had under Lampard, if that makes sense. I get your argument. He was brilliant for us. You can't take that away from him. But I get where you're coming from. Welcome to DJ. The Bluetooth game is saying welcome, DJ. Our new Chelsea Perspective Director of Football. Firstly, DJ, keep an eye on the Kepa. He started the match with a poorly timed Koulibaly take within the first 5 minutes.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to scroll quite a few people having conversations there. Nice to see you. Chimera, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Bouncy again up to Charles. Thank you so much for saying that. What else do we have here? Okay. I also disagree that Rotterball has done overall fact. Rotterball, does it mean potable? Not just a pay cut. He will have to be satisfied with a sub role, until he shows that he's capable of that he's going to do better. I cannot see him starting. It's up to him. At age 22, you want to play all the time, but maybe again, maybe if they can convince him, let's say Graham Potter knows him and feels like he's the one to help him show what he's capable of doing and give him a chance. I don't know. His case is complicated, but his salary is will be a huge stumbling block. I have to keep saying that. Cho is on 180K per week. That's huge. That's really huge. Let's see. Is Kante available for Everton? Not sure. I haven't heard anything. I should have taken the 16 million from Munich, 70 actually. 70 then. But no regrets. You can't get every decision you make in life right. Chelsea fans were all for us keeping him at that time and not letting him go. And now, they're the first calling for the club to just chop him off. We don't think him. We don't need him. I think we see Cho as a youth player busting onto the scenes. His injuries has ruined him. And plus the fact that some of us don't realize the more he matures as a player, you start seeing less and less of those things that made you like him in the youth team, if that makes sense. Let me see. Ryan was after to the Saints. Okay. Take nothing away from what Ryan did for us that night. Yep, he was excellent. By the way, I was merely using him as an excuse. Yep. As in what happened after that. Again, that was in reference to me saying Cho hasn't won anything. He should, for him to get his career back on track, he has to realize and say to himself, I haven't won anything. I have work to do. I have a lot to learn. The rest will be history from there. Cooley is a beast. We need him. I think he stays. I didn't even suspect the club sells him, even when the rumors were swearing. I didn't think the club would consider selling him in the summer. DJ, he's saying big up to you. What do we have? Kepa is weak at the near post mid-range shots. Apart from that, he's great. So get training on your weaknesses, and then you become even better. His height is the least of my concerns, really. The pressure got to Kepa. His transfer fee was huge. Now that all the issues take the spotlight at Chelsea, he's performing a lot better. I think that's a sensible argument there. Let's get our tinfoil hats on, and considering we have a Potter now, perhaps we need the chosen one. Yeah, what a way that's a creative way to write it, and I like it. It's performing better. At Kepa, but near post and mid shots close to him are his weak spots. Yep, he's not perfect and need to work on those things. Kovac was benched during Lampard's tenure, and Kepa was not the only one who performed below par. Even Rudiger and Christensen were benched, and a lot happened then. So I wouldn't blame him for that. Kepa is vertically challenged. That's a very respectful way of saying he's short. He just needs to get hooked on some growth hormone supplements for some tallness. He's past the age where that is even possible, if that makes sense. Let me see. Kepa has been a better once his home life was settled down. You could argue that, yeah, he had an issue also, relationship issue. But why is that very common with our Spanish contingents? That makes sense. Even TT lost the plot when his home life imploded. Yep. Your relationship can do a lot of damage to your life. The guy who said Cho is on 180K a week is inaccurate. Cho is on 120. Okay, that's still high, really, given when he started earning that much amount. Also, massive factor. Yeah, it is indeed. He cannot stop long-range shots and cannot command the 6-yard box. Wow, some argument right there. Strangely, he has been making saves above his head. Good argument right there. That's, by the way, DJ, your argument. You're the one that started the Kepa talk yesterday. Your thoughts, should we keep him or should we consider selling him in the summer?
As it goes, I actually said keep him, Cucurella. I wasn't the one to say let him go. When I was asked the question, I was gutted. Obviously, Mendy's not signing his new contract. And I said, Mendy's not signing his new contract, which he's not doing, because obviously I obviously prefer Mendy over Kepa, because I think Mendy's a better, in terms of his height-wise, I think Mendy's better. But the only thing...
let me say, I usually say Mendy is well-equipped to do better than Kepa.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The only thing Mendy can't do is play with his feet, play ball to feet. I mean, that Kepa's obviously much better in that. But I always said if Mendy's going to go, because obviously he's not signing a new contract, so he's going to end up going anyway. But I did say, I think the question was put forward, do you think Kepa's the right choice to be number one goalkeeper going forward for his previous years or whatever he's got at Chelsea? For me, no. I think we need another goalkeeper. It's not that I have nothing against Kepa.
At this point, who do you think should be the first choice?
If we can't get at this moment in time, yeah, Kepa of course has to be first choice for me now at this moment in time, because there's really, I mean, I look at the choice he's up against. Obviously, we know the situation with Mendy. You then got Bettinelli, who I don't really don't know. I don't know why we even got this guy. Yeah, I think he had one start and that was it. And then we've got the other guy, Slanina, who's obviously young, and he's obviously not going to get into this team straight away. So I think next season Slanina's going to get a loan out next season. Personally, I think. All right, so we'll end up probably getting another goalkeeper in with Kepa. So for now, Kepa stays number one. Whether Mendy wants to come back and challenge him, at least until the end of the season, is another thing. I don't know, because there's still football to play. But for this moment in time, for me, it's Kepa in goal. And I said my only weakness for Kepa is, as I said, and I know it was just answered. You have any shot that comes from distance, whether it's top corner on either left or right, the guy's beaten because of his height, and that's not his fault. I can't blame him for that. That's not his fault. Yeah, But other than that, he otherwise is a good. I mean, he's proved it already. Sometimes when he comes to jump for corner kick balls, for example, he comes to punch them. He doesn't always get them, and sometimes that can cause chaos in the area, even though the defense should be clearing it out most of the time. But sometimes when he wants to come and command the ball, command his area, he doesn't always command it. So that's the only thing is his only slight weakness. But other than that, look, listen, I think he's a good goalkeeper, and I hope he does stay. For now, and obviously, I think he's probably the one that's staying the goal over Mendy at the moment.
Yeah, given what we have, I think it's an obvious choice given his ability on the ball, his distribution. Again, I get it. Mendy isn't actually the worst in terms of his ability on the ball, but lapses in concentration has made them look so bad in that aspect that a lot of people don't trust him. But here's the thing with Kepa. I think all these things you talked about, I think those are areas actually you could argue he's improved, but maybe complacency is setting in. Just as in the case of, you could argue as was the case with Mendy himself. But let's see what the club does. I think Kepa's issue will probably come down to his salary too. When it's time to renew his salary, I think that's where the club may well decide. I think they're better off selling him because he nearly left. Under Thomas Tuchel, he nearly left. He actually talked with Mauricio Sarri's current team. I think he spoke with Napoli, and he did also. We heard he did also speak with Lazio. So he nearly left, but let's see what the club does. His case is not that simple to decide. But his salary will most likely be an issue. And I don't see him taking the pay cut. And And they still think he's one of those players that if he decides to leave Chelsea, there won't be shortage of clubs looking to secure his signature. Joe Shields has done a tremendous job so far. Dujon looks a top talent, pace, power, trickery, and 6'4". He's a tall boy. I didn't know he was that tall. Wow, cannot wait to see him develop. Yep. Again, I hope to see him soon. Mendy and Slonina going forward. Let's see what happens there. Mendy gives me hot palpitations when
exactly
when he plays with his feet. Gives me another keeper. Give me another keeper, please. Unfortunately, Mendy's case, it may well be that again. He needs a fresh start, and that may well mean him leaving the club because it doesn't look like it's going to turn around for him at the club. Plus, at the World Cup, we see him make high-profile errors too. So the club will be a bit reluctant to even try to talk with his camp again after he refused what was offered to him. Can you name any world-class goalkeeper that are available? Kepa is all right for Chelsea FC. We should make other teams pack the bus and everything will be fine. Kepa can even move up to the midfield. Yeah, I get it. There's some argument right there. Keylor Navas was available because I'm sure what's the team he's playing for right now? I'm sure they're not paying him anything close to what he's earning at what he was earning at PSG. But yeah, we'll move on from that. I think had Thomas Tuchel remained our manager, we probably would have gotten him. Kepa conceded less goals this season compared to a few seasons back. He's also wicked in penalties. Give me him anytime. Okay, that's a solid argument too. Just responding to somebody there. Let's see what we have here. Kepa reminds me of the goalkeeper of my son's academy team. They are so dominating in possession, but Trenes has put half lines as the boundary, which that the goalkeeper is not allowed to cross. He's a sweeper keeper, so those things are very common with them. Let me see what else we have here. Kepa, the only keeper in Europe to have 80% save rates in both leagues and UEFA competitions. Only a Pope has a better save rate in the EPL. Yet some people don't pay attention to that. Big up to you too, Eugene. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding time to join. Kepa as number one goalkeeper at Chelsea. No, thanks a lot. Okay, present the number one. He's the best we have right now. Is there a certain type of keeper who's better for three at the back? I don't think the structure comes into play. I think more importantly, the overall approach in terms of if you're into keeping the ball, then your goalkeeper, or if you're into playing out from the back, then the goalkeeper's ability on the ball is very important. In this case, Graham Potter likes to do that in most cases. So Kepa's ability on the ball and distribution is key. I'm not smart with goalkeeper's decision. Probably win-win situation at the end. Okay, Raya. Let me see what else we have here. So DJ, let's talk about Mendy. Your thoughts on what happens with this whole situation?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I think we can all be honest here. When he first came into Chelsea, he was absolutely brilliant. I think last season, obviously, under our old management, he done a lot of. He broke some records. He obviously won the Champions League with him in that goal as well.
He was nominated for the best goalkeeper award.
Best goalkeeper in the world as well. He was nominated for. Look, I don't know what's happened ever since obviously Potter's come through the door. He's obviously he didn't help that he had an injury. I think there was I don't know, did he break his finger or done his finger over or something like that? And he's obviously not.
He has a broken finger. I think sustained during the World Cup or sure. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he's not been the same goalkeeper since he's come back from the World Cup. I think we all know that. And, Kepa rightfully so has got his opportunity and he's grabbed it with both hands. So Mendy has got a bit of a fight to get back into the team. I agree with that. And, if I at this moment in time, I think Potter's quite happy with keeping Kepa in the goal anyway. And I think it would just be good to see Mendy coming back. Even we got him back as another player to come back from injury, just to be in there. From what I understand, when I read a couple of weeks ago, he was supposed to be back in training 2 weeks ago, Mendy. So I'm not sure 2 weeks have passed now. I'm not sure if he's back in training now. Maybe people in the comments might be able to tell me that, but I've not seen it. Maybe people might know. Chelsea old boys, anybody in the comments might know if he's been back in training. I don't know, but yeah, look, if he's back in training, that is good news for us. But I personally don't think he's going to be staying. I think it looks like if he was going to stay, he'd have signed his contract a long time ago. I know there's been told. I don't know if you want to believe different sides of stories. There's been people saying there's been no contract talks. People are saying there has been contract talks. So I don't know what to believe myself personally. So look, if contract talks haven't begun, if they haven't begun, I'm saying this, then maybe start to try to negotiate with him. If, for example, they do and he says, "No, I don't want to. No, I want to move," then obviously he'll be a goalkeeper that will probably need to move on, which I'll be gutted to see happen. To be honest with you, but it's one of those things, isn't it? You can't be what do you call it in football? Sentimental in football. So if he goes on, he moves.
Yeah, he moves on, and he doesn't earn much. I think he's one of the least earners at the club. And for him to have rejected a contract offer from the club, that's not a good sign, right? That simply means he believes he should be offered something more. He's a Senegalese international and a starter for them. Plus, he's one of those players you would say there won't be shortage of clubs looking to sign him given his pedigree. He's achieved quite a lot within the short spell, his short stay at Chelsea Football Club. I think he's more likely to leave the club because I don't see him. He probably realizes the manager don't value him. I know he'd be paying attention to the talks of how he's not that good on the ball, and the manager prefers goalkeepers that are good on the ball. And I don't see Kepa losing his place to Mendy. As much as I think Mendy is well equipped to do better than Kepa has done for the club, it's a difficult climb for him really to get the chance to do something that the manager will feel like I think is a better choice for us than Kepa Arrizabalaga between the sticks. Unfortunately, I think he ends up leaving, and his current contract, let me see, runs until. Let me find out here just quickly. Mendy transfer market. Just give me 1 second. Mendy transfer market. Let's see what I have here. Before I do that, Roger, you can come in. Your thoughts on the Mendy situation. What do you think happens? Do you think the club should sell, cash in, or do you think they should keep him? For me, I think they will cash in, given the fact he's rejected the contract they offer him. I know he still has about 2 years left on his contract. His contract is 2025. Plus, he's refused an offer from the club. Plus, I don't think he sees if he's telling himself the truth. I don't think it's suitable to the way Graham Potter wants to play. And if we're gonna get any other manager, I think it still be a manager who likes to play out from the back. It'd be difficult for us to get any other profile of manager, except if we're getting Mourinho, who doesn't value that as much. I think the club will most likely cash in on him, and he would want to leave. Your thoughts, Roger? And big up to you. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. Hello, DJ. Hello, Coach.
Hey, big up to you, Roger.
Good afternoon to you too.
Thank you, gentlemen. He's got 2.5 years left. He signed a 5-year contract in the 2020-21 season, so two and a bit of seasons left. I think he's not happy because he came in and he was anointed, shall we say, the starting keeper. And let's be honest, he played very well. Less of an emphasis playing with the feet back then, I think we can safely assume also. He's got...
Under Lampard, right?
Yeah, he's got tremendous physical attributes. He doesn't always command his box the way in which he should, but he's better aerially and commanding his box than Kepa is for the most part. And his wingspan is tremendously larger. He's better at saving balls in the upper right and left-hand corners, but usually due to physics, when you have a larger keeper, it takes longer to get down to save balls on the ground. So Kepa is better saving in both corners on the ground than Mendy is traditionally, and that's because of physics.
And to make things clear, Roger has the details and is able to explain these things in detail as he's doing right now because he was a goalkeeper himself.
Yeah,
so go ahead, Roger.
It's the only position I ever played. But yeah, I like Mendy a lot. The other thing that I think he's lacking is leadership. I think Kepa has come to the forefront. That's why you notice he's been given the armband several times. But generally speaking,
before you come back to Mendy, maybe get done with Mendy. I was going to ask you, do you think Kepa stays? But go ahead with the Mendy discussion. Go ahead with what you were saying.
I think, is it really true, gentlemen, that Mendy has refused to sign the latest offer he's been given?
The biggest outlets then carried the news. So if we're to believe that, then it's a sign he's going to leave.
Yeah, but that's in 2.5 years' time, technically. I mean, it looks like he's probably going to get sold. Mendy will probably go to the Chelsea board and say, "Can you sell me, please? I don't want to be number 2." And they probably will do so. And I'm not sure how much they can get for him. I would assume 20, 30 million probably in today's market.
Around 25 million euros says the transfer market.
Yeah, okay. So I'm being greedy here. I would love to have him as either a number 1 or number 2 with both keepers Kepa. I think it's a formidable 1-2 punch either way. It's that simple. And it's an important position. Mendy is definitely, his distribution is not as good as Kepa's. And when you're playing predominantly with a back 3, if you notice, not only is Kepa superior with his feet, but also his distribution with his arms and so forth. Another thing that I love about Kepa as opposed to Mendy is the fact that he reads the situation well. He's more of a sweeper keeper, and that's probably because of his speed. Don't get me wrong, Mendy is very fast off his line for a big man also. He's very similar in so many ways to Pedicek, his style I'm referring to. But if I had to choose, listen, they're both equally good enough to start for any Premier League team. I would probably prefer Kepa because of the fact that Kepa can be taught how to be superior in the box. This reminds me of De Gea, his first year or two. And like, if you look at the coaches, we have 2 goalkeeping coaches. We have Ben Roberts and Enrique Hilario, and actually we have 3. We have an assistant goalkeeper coach, James Russell. So we have 3 bloody goalkeeping coaches. So they need to work on A, distribution with Mendy, and B, aerial, commanding the box with Kepa. And those are easy. Well, the latter is easier than the initial to work on. Kepa can definitely work on his upper body strength and, using your knee more and just punching out. He seems like he lacks confidence, but Mendy, listen, I have a feeling we will sell him, and I'm sad to see him go because I really like him.
Let me ask you this: what went wrong? Like, I don't recall if you were on the panel the day. I think it was Emperor who argued the problem with Mendy is probably he lost the hunger.
There is some truth to that. Complacency. That's
some truth. And plus, would you say that Thomas Tuchel handled his poor form very well? Because to me, I was arguing. A lot of people were arguing then dropping him. It wouldn't be the right choice. He should keep playing him. When he was averaging a single mistake per game, it was I and Zivoy, Matt, my bro, those that were arguing something isn't quite right. Mendy should smell the bench. Maybe that would do him a world of good. And I remember Nick Blue specifically saying Mendy should be benched for his own good. But Thomas Tuchel kept playing him. He kept playing him even when it was obvious that the mistake has become too much. I'd argue he didn't help Mendy realize that he has work to do. But you go ahead. Your thoughts. What really changed? And do you think Thomas Tuchel helped the situation in any way?
Listen, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Like Lampard not wanting Rudiger to be in the starting lineup, that doesn't make sense to me. Just like Tuchel, who I absolutely respect immensely, didn't like Kepa. It's subjective as a head coach / manager. Sometimes you prefer this style or build of a keeper, whether it's a prototypical or not. And obviously, Tuchel really preferred Mendy over Kepa, and which he's entitled to. I don't know. I really don't.
Let me ask you this quickly: if you were Thomas Tuchel, would you go to the extent of Kepa being the goalkeeper during the semi-final stage? I think the Club World Cup, and Mendy was out, was away for AFCON. He comes back. Would you go to the extent, even if you trust Mendy, would you go to the extent of dropping Kepa Arrizabalaga and having Mendy start the final?
Well, he did, didn't he? Kepa played in the semi-final.
Thomas Tuchel did that. To you, was that the correct decision? Would you have done that if you were Thomas Tuchel?
Myself personally, no. No.
Yeah. And even if somebody says that was okay, as if that wasn't enough, Kepa was the goalkeeper throughout the earlier stages of the I think Carabao Cup or so, and saved penalties that helped us make it to the final or so. I don't remember at what stage. And that was following that thing. It wasn't a few days after the Club World Cup that game came on, and he still dropped Kepa to the bench. But he has been the cup competition goalkeeper all along.
Yes.
So but my point is that I didn't think Thomas Tuchel handled it. I think what Thomas Tuchel did may have or could have potentially clipped into his head, because it's a human thing. He probably took that position for granted and wasn't working hard to keep that position. Because I'm one of those who have argued we don't give him enough credit again for how good he is with his feet. He's not the worst with his feet. But Thomas Tuchel didn't handle that well. But go ahead.
Coach, I want to say something, especially in this position. It's not so much the manager / head coach. He or she has to take input from the positional coach or coaches. Like right now, you got Potter as the head coach, whatever you want to term him. And he takes tremendous input from the goalkeeping coaches. Do you understand? So he probably he takes a lot of his input. Like, for instance, hypothetically, if two of the goalkeeping coaches are saying, listen, Kepa is a better keeper than Mendy, but hypothetically, Potter wants Mendy, then he may just go with his goalkeeping coaches against his better nature. Does that make sense? Because they are experts in that field. So when you say Tuchel or Potter, I think we have to include the positional coaches because they have greater input, if that makes sense. So, but I get what you're saying. I didn't know what
I was thinking, highlighting what Chelsea old boys just said for what I have highlighted. What didn't I pay attention to that?
But you know what? I didn't think Tuchel handled it, or his goalkeeping coaches handled it correctly with Mendy.
They didn't. They were running so many phases of that situation.
And especially in that position, usually when a player loses confidence, you have to bench them. But he stuck with him, and I think that was to his detriment.
Yeah. Again, people, sorry, too many comments in the chat. I'm going to skip quite a few. Panda, excuse me. I'm struggling with a bit of cough. Hello to everyone that I haven't said hello to. Apologies, I cannot get everything. I partially disagree with you about all keepers. A lot of tall goalkeepers also are very good on the low ball. Mendy actually did in areas. The only issue is ball on the feet, which I don't think will give him enough credit because he's actually capable of with his feet, but sometimes lapses in concentration has made him look so bad in that area. If we keep Mendy, he must do this. Excuse me, even though no sentiments, I think he probably will leave. I think even if we want to keep him, he would want to leave if he's not the starting goalkeeping choice. No goalkeeper is perfect. Even Thibaut Courtois had Messi picking spaces between his legs. Kepa is good goalkeeper. Fans needs to come. No goalkeeper is perfect, right? And there was a time, even when he was still at Chelsea, sorry about the cough, Courtois has quite a lot of shockers, really, at Chelsea and Madrid, too, he did. Kepa is now better than Mendy and has put in the work to become a better goalkeeper. Yep, I argue that, too. I would need to pick one now. I choose Kepa. Yep, given what we have, Kepa is the better choice right now, given his form, plus his ability on the ball. They call it a goalkeeper for a reason, not a footkeeper. Well, gone are those days. I think your ability on the ball does go a long way. The disrespect, no disrespect there. We're being factual, except if anybody in the chat is saying anything wrong. Mendy came with the hunger and at one point lost his form. And at one point, they said as if he lost that hunger because his form dropped after he's won all the things he won with, at Chelsea. So, yeah, nobody's saying he's a bad goalkeeper. And my argument has always been he's actually equipped enough to do better than Kepa Arrizabalaga. But he has to himself accept he has work to do. And like somebody said the last time we talked about him, during that interview, he was questioned whether that he was told that the talks were that he has to improve his with his ability, his distribution, all that. And he said his response was that he doesn't need to. Well, let's just say that's just a rumor. But if he said that, then he has a problem. So coach, I believe the success was too much for Mendy. I don't know. I think had Thomas Soko dropped him for a game or two, he would have realized, he shouldn't take things for granted and worked even harder to become better. Remember when they said the keeping coaches wanted him to improve his feet, and he said he was being difficult to be corrected. Wow. That's another one. I haven't heard this aspect of the whole thing. Mendy was playing through injury. He waited till the end of the season to do finger surgery. No, that's a different thing altogether. I get it. Nobody's saying Mendy is bad, but something isn't quite working for him at Chelsea right now, which means and he's a starting keeper for Senegal, and he's a fine goalkeeper. There will not be shortage of clubs willing to take him, and he's rejected a contract offer from the club. And for the club to have offered him something he rejected, it's called rejected. It said we didn't hear like they're getting close or they're still far apart. He rejected means he feels disrespected too. So to me, he would look to leave the club. It's no disrespected on Mendy. He can Yoko Y again from the back end contract situation is not down to the fact to the fans. Yep, facts. I agree with you. Mendy had good chemistry with Rudiger. Rudiger didn't perfect Kepa. Okay, but with change of backline, Kepa has grabbed his chance. And Mendy, if he can work on his weaknesses when the opportunity calls, grab it. Yep, I think he'd do well. We would seem to need a proper number 9 to hold up the ball so Mendy could play it forward. Thank you for saying that. I hear Chelsea FC are automatic participants of the new 2025 format of 32 teams for the Club World Cup as winners in 2021, 2022. That makes me happy. We get another we get the chance to go at it again. So people, thank you so much. I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and then I'll try to get your subsequent contributions. Come summer, Chukwuemeka injuries. Wow, Anthony Teta. Okay, thank you, and I hope you're doing well. Bird Chest, thank you so much for that. Let's see what else we have here. Courtois, the snake. Yeah, I don't want to talk about him really. Let's see. Mendy simply had too much lapses in concentration. Yep, that became an issue. That's not the same as a mistake. It's almost like his head is gone when you see what he does. Yeah, I agree with you. Mendy's got clown feet. Doing crew turns in his own 6-yard box. That one infuriated me even more. Why not the coach? And no, I don't mind Kepa in goal, but the disrespect of Mendy. Can you mention what you mean a disrespect? That's the issue. Let him feel like he hasn't won anything. I get it. 3 trophies won for Chelsea in a short time. That's huge. But it looks like he's lost the hunger. That's that. He has to try to work on his weaknesses. That's what I've argued. Why don't the coach change how Mendy plays rather than play out from the back, which means the manager will have to sacrifice their preferred approach to the game.
Yeah.
Mendy nominated twice for European goalkeeper in the season. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe that was why he felt like he doesn't need to do anything to improve. Maybe he needs a fresh start. I get it, and I will still argue that he's a fine goalkeeper and is well equipped to do better than Kepa Arrizabalaga, but it all starts with him accepting there's work to do. But I think the issue is that he feels disrespected because of being on a more the salary. The salary thing is an issue. I don't think the salary affects his performance because the lapses in concentration started even before he got injured. And I don't think Thomas Tuchel would have dropped him had it not been for that injury. I've been praying for a long ball from the back once in a while. Constructive facts. Thank you for saying that. But we're here to debate. Kepa 75 million, 150K a week. Mendy 20 million, and that's poor. But it's up to him to accept what they're offering him or not. It's business for all parties involved, and it's not my business. I think the salary they offered him, for him to have rejected that, again, I'm repeating myself, probably one of the reasons why he will decide to leave the club, because he can earn much more somewhere else. But that's the least of my concerns with Mendy. I want him to start showing the form he showed when he joined us. Why do you think all these players reject contract at Chelsea presently? It's down to 6 to 7 years contract. Maybe that may well be part of it. Mendy just cannot be Joe Hart 2013. The game is different. Do fans think Brighton can go deep in the Champions League? You started calling us Brighton again. So that means Mendy needs to be sold. If he cannot play that way, facts will move. It's as simple as that. Give him a chance. Since he hasn't been playing for a while, then we cannot judge him at the end. We can judge him at the end of the season. The chance is up to him. Will he accept to wait for the chance to come, or does he think the number one position, the number one a spot in a goalkeeping spot is his own? If he thinks that way, then he's never going to get a chance. Has another abracadabra. Now, club is factory of abracadabra goalkeepers. Okay. 2 + 2 = 4, 1, 3. Quick math. I'm not sure where that is coming from. Correct me, Grant. Your mic is moving. It's moving like our attack. Because I don't have it pinned to my neck, but I think I have a better connection today. Kachila, you want him to show the form. We won 3 trophies on 50K. No. I'm saying his salary is the least of my issue. Before his contract became an issue, he started making those again high. You can say, high-profile lapses in concentration, if that makes sense. Coming back to the panel. Anybody else has anything else to say about Kepa Mendy's situation?
No, I just listen. No. I don't think he should feel disrespected with his salary. No one forced him to sign for us and take that salary initially. He was very happy to sign for a team that was going deep in the Champions League. So I don't buy that theory per se. But yes, he is underpaid compared to, shall we say, his teammate. Yes, there's no doubt about that. But I don't think he should feel disrespected in the context of that. But listen.
Yeah, I don't think he should. Actually, we either sell him. Else you want to say about that?
You either sell him or he sits on the bench for 2.5 years if there's no injury.
I think he will ask to leave. He's a good goalkeeper. There's no taking that away from him. He will most likely ask to leave because I don't see him accepting of being playing second fiddle to what's his name, to Kepa Arrizabalaga, because he probably feels like he's the better goalkeeper. And I don't blame him. He's achieved a lot as a first choice. And I don't know, but he needs to. There's work to do. He needs to realize that. And the moment he realizes he has work to do, then I think he'll become a better goalkeeper. No taking that away from him. He's an excellent goalkeeper, actually. On the day, let me start with you, DJ, with this man right here, Ethan Ampadu.
Yes.
Your thoughts on his situation. And let's pay attention to his age again, because we're Chelsea fans. It's easy to jump to saying we should just sell a player. Forgotten that player, again, I think Ampadu at this current age is still a potential. But go ahead, your thoughts.
No, listen, I agree on that one. I think I've seen quite a few fans saying let's get rid of. And I think some of the fans mean it in a way that they obviously because they know the kid is a talent, and I think they're probably thinking his career may just end up stopping at Chelsea. I don't personally think that because. Like my brother Bobby's always been saying, we need players in our squad. And, people keep saying, sell this, sell that, get rid of this, get rid of that. Yeah, you need plays in the squad. And again, I keep saying this about Ampadu again. I'll say about on the Ampadu situation, I'll say this. If he comes back in pre-season, watch what he does in pre-season before judging. Let's be honest. He can't obviously play centre-back. He can play midfield if need be. We're talking about going and buying a new midfielder. Maybe this kid could come in and be the guy we might need to put in at midfield. I'm not saying he's the answer. So anyone coming at me, please don't. I'm just saying he could be. Just have a look at him. That's what I'm saying. Have a look at him in midfield, see what he does. And if he does well, then yeah, I don't see why he can't be a squad player. I do rate Ampadu. I think he's a talent. And I think, I just think, as I said, he's got his loans now, and the amount of loans his kid has had, you expect him now to come to Chelsea now, maybe try to cement and move into a place in the Chelsea team, but it doesn't seem to always be the case. He comes in pre-season, does a couple of games good here and there, and then all of a sudden he's out of the team again. So look. Again, he's an interesting one. I like to see him come back and get given a chance, at least for pre-season, and see where he goes. It's the same situation as Callum Hudson-Odoi situation. Give him a chance and have a look at him in pre-season and see where we go with him. Because he is a talent. I wouldn't get rid of him that quickly. I'm not sure how many years he's left on his contract.
He's just 22. Let me try and find out. I think he's had about 2 years or so.
I think it's 2 years. He extended, didn't he?
Sorry?
I think, did he not extend before he went for a year or something like that?
An automatic extension, I think.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second. He's just 22 also, but unfortunately for us Chelsea fans, we seem to quickly look beyond the age of a player and start judging them, which means there's still a potential. And I think the problem with this, lots of these young players at Chelsea is that they've been on the scene for quite a while.
Yeah.
That if I don't look it up, if you ask me how old is Ampadu, I'll say, maybe like 24, 25, but he's just 22.
22.
Yeah, he played
which means he's still a potential.
17.
But go ahead with what you're saying. I'll try and find out his current Chelsea contract.
I remember when we signed him, guys. I remember the amount of clubs that were chasing this kid when we got him, and we ended up getting him. People were saying, "What a steal we've got with this player because he's going to be such a talent for the future." And I hope he can do well. I've seen people already in the comments saying next season it's going to, give maybe Andrés Santos and obviously Enzo their midfield berth for next season. But look, I will say that because I've always been going on about Andrés Santos since we signed him. I was so gutted that we didn't see him get the Chelsea to sort his situation out, but he's gone on loan. But again, same thing with Ampadu. It's the same thing. If all these players are going to come back next season, let's be honest, and let's see what happens to them in the pre-season. Because I think Ampadu, for me,
do you remember he was actually one of the better players during the pre-season under Thomas Tuchel?
He was, and he can play. And the thing is, he can play in different positions as well if need be. He's versatile, so he can play in different positions. And in this Chelsea team, I don't see why. I for one think having versatile players playing in your team is a good thing for the club going forward. So I would give this kid a chance next season and see what happens with him again, because I won't just say get rid of him because it's the easiest thing to do now, But sometimes you got to look further than rather than short term. Get rid of him for the short term, but for further down the line, I think this kid will be really good for us, and I just think he needs to be given that opportunity, and hopefully, he will get given that opportunity next season.
Yeah.
This comment here, I'll come to you in a bit, Roger. Just give me a minute. Mendy and Mount are in similar situation. Both think they are more wages, but they don't realize they're being replaced. That may well be the case, really. He should thank his chickens that Petr Cech found him and Rennes again when he was jobless at 22. Facts again, it's a fact, but we can't take away the job he's done at Chelsea for us. But I think he needs to understand he needs to work, and he's capable of taking back the #1 spot. And I'm going to say this: a lot of people don't give him enough credit, given how good he can be with his feet. Aside the lapses in concentration, he wasn't actually that bad with his feet. It's just that, clearly, in that aspect, Kepa is better. Keep the Rastafarian Ampadu. He's a utility quality player. He's a fine player, an excellent player, and at just 22. He represents the Welsh national team. He can play as a DM. He can play as a centre back, and leadership comes to him naturally. Wherever you deploy him, leadership comes to him naturally. If you're watching, people, we need just 22 more likes to get it to 100 likes. Please, even if you're watching and you're not contributing in the chat, please do take a second to help us drop a like on the stream to help us get to 100 likes as soon as possible. That would go a long way. The only way I would keep Ampadu if Zakaria leave. I think Zakaria, I don't see us keeping him. He hasn't stayed fit for a while, and it doesn't look like the manager likes him. Big up Kuchela on the panel. Miss you guys. Just seen Mendy contract situation. He should appreciate what he's given. I wouldn't go to the extent of asking him to accept what he's given. He's the one that stands between the sticks. Whatever he feels like he's worth, let him ask for it. My only advice is that let him accept that he needs to improve. No player is perfect. He needs to, again, think about the lapses in concentration, do something about it, and become a better keeper because he's capable, well-equipped to become better than Kepa. I've always argued that we need a Paulinho in the midfield with Enzo and Andre, just because one game we played against him. How long have you been paying attention to Paulinho? But that's your argument. CJ FX, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Ampadu has been on loan for too long. Better sell him and give him a permanent home. Cannot be moving players all over the world. That's a solid argument. Better sell him and make sure we have a buyback clause. I've made this argument before. In most cases, the team that loans a player, I get it. I don't know the construct of the most contracts. It just seems as if the way they treat the players in most cases just seems as if they're not obliged to give the player game time. And in most cases, they sign a player as a secondary option or because they have a player injured. And when that player, they have their own player that's injured, comes back, the player you loan into them won't be a priority. He has to be exceptionally on form for them to say, okay, you know what, I think we're going to keep playing him. Our player that just came back from injury isn't doing well enough. So I think the better option, sell the player to the club, insert a buyback clause into the contract, and then the club will now know, okay, we can start him. If we put in work and he does better, we can make 30 million, 40 million from him if the club wants him back. Then that way, they will be obliged to develop the player. And that way, because they paid money for the player, it's their player. But loans don't really work out in most cases. You have to have some special agreement for the club to prioritize your player. I get it. So that makes sense. It's either we sell him sell him to a club and have a buyback clause. It will make sense. Then if he becomes that player we hope he will become, then we'll sign him back. I don't want to see anything sort of, because in the case of what's his name, one of the players, the kids I loved the most, I think he joined Brighton. I'm hearing we don't have a buyback clause in his case. Billy Gilmore, and that annoys me to tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong. Morira, Coach Kuchila, I'm still not convinced with Kepa's abilities. Okay, why am I saying this? If we come against teams like Madrid or Bayern, those teams have players that shoot from yards, i.e. Kimmich and Benzema. I get it, but ask yourself, why did they have the chance to even shoot from outside the 18? In the first place, the 2-6s or our defenders don't close them down, but especially the 2-6s, because the defense probably would try to mark players inside the box, and then the 2-6s, if they're not paying attention, don't close players down, they get a chance to shoot. Better clubs instead of Venezia will show interest in Ampadu for loan if it's what being in the Chelsea squad. Thank you so much. I appreciate that contribution. Ampadu can play centre-back and also midfield. Yep, he's one of the talents I saw at Chelsea for quite some time now. We should keep him. And why he had to leave on loan, I don't know. He's a Welsh international, solid and will improve. Lemley said, shame, I miss seeing those pictures of women. So
Glenn, honestly, Glenn.
What did I do to you, Glenn? You know I want to go to heaven. Stop doing such thing to me.
Honestly, Glenn.
Ampadu needs to be given an opportunity, but he never gets that. I don't think we have given him real opportunity at Chelsea. Give the guy a permanent home as soon as possible. Yep, don't be selfish about it. I think I'd rather see him progress somewhere else if we're going to keep loaning him out and end up not keeping him. Smash the like button and subscribe for the great show our coach puts out. And my panel is also not me. I couldn't do this alone. I will not be able We have some excellent panelists here. Again, Ampadu could be kept to play at the quarter player to end games. A good passing, his passing range is also excellent. And the surprising thing is that even if he's passing the ball from the back line to somebody in the final third, in most cases he keeps it on the carpet. He's that good. Again, if sold, I'll put a buyback clause. I think the better option to make sure he continues his development would be to sell him and put a buyback clause. Then, the clubs would take him seriously. Question for the panel: who thinks a manager always plays the best players at any given time without favoritism? Our manager or whose manager? Well, in most cases, either subconsciously or by design, managers have favorites. And I'm not sure I'm ready to go into that right now. Maybe another show. Let's see what we have here. Maybe Porter could try Ampadu as a DM during season. If he doesn't work, sell him as soon as possible. I think he does well as a DM. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he play at the World Cup?
Who, Ampadu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he did well too. Yeah.
Holding midfielder.
They have a shirt. You are fine, coach. No, I'm not fine. I'm not fine. Kachila, the midfielders can now always close the spaces. Not all the time, but it has happened too many times that it's obvious it's a problem. Yeah, I even said I'm glad against us. What's his name? Harry Kane didn't come with his shooting boots on because the spaces were there for him to exploit. If that's the case, why that's a goalkeeper? I get it, but again, if there's a problem in that aspect, then talk about that before you talk about the goalkeeper. Keep him, please. He's got talent. Unfortunately, most people don't look at his age. They look beyond his age and start judging that by now he should be Andrea Pirlo. Kachila, let's sell Ampadu. The kid has been loaned severally. We cannot replace him with we can replace him with Lavia. It sounds easy. I don't think we'll be spending that much money in the summer. Plus, I'm going to say this really. I think the club keeps him because the current owners, they love young talent. Honestly, Kepa is good and improving, but something that hasn't improved since he started playing at Chelsea is he's a set piece game. He has conceded from set piece like free kicks, and that's annoying. Simeon Okuku, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. It's time to bring those days of Makalele Balak. We should have world-class midfielders. We should mix it up. Yep. Ampadu covers this show. Ruben loves this. Cho can move for good morning. We can use the Matson Cowell. Matson, I want him to come back. But whatever happens with Matson, I think if his camps up, his camp will most likely be paying attention to the situation in the left-hand side, given the availability of Cucurella and Ben Chilwell. If two of them stays, chances are he will most likely not extend. And Man City, they have connection with the current manager where Matson plays. What's his name? The former Belgium international, Vincent Kompany. So Man City may well be playing a game with us right now to come at us and force us to give Chilwell a new contract, and then Matson will refuse to extend. And Pep, all he has to do is just, find a way to get Kompany to convince Matson to join Man City. Every player wants success. So it's not that simple. That's just my theory. Robin George, nice to see you. He could be sold to Brighton just like Tariq Lamptey. Is there a chance Boehly can make a quote for Brighton as a feeder club? I don't think he will be allowed to do that in the Premier League. Coach, you made me laugh. I really thought Ampadu was older than Mount. Oh, yeah, that's what I said. Because he's played for a long time now. If somebody asks you, you'd probably think he's like he's closing to 30 because you've been hearing his name for a while. Yep. He could still fall in the project with he still falls that. Yeah. They're looking for average age of 25. So he's still well within the range of players they want. I am a fan of Mendy, but if you ask me, I will kick both out and replace them with a better keeper on another day. Leicester could have drawn our last game thanks to Kepa's mistakes. Also, Mendy could have avoided. Wow. Okay, that's some argument. So, Roger, coming to you, your thoughts on the Ampadu situation. What do you think the club should do? Keep him or sell him?
I just want to say something quickly about Kepa. First of all, yes, he made some errors in the Leicester game, but if you look at the defensive centre backs and so forth, they were ball watching. Have a look at them. They just that player is surrounded by 4 or 5 players, Chelsea players, and they're ball watching. Having said that,
there's a chance he saw it late.
Yeah, and also what you have to do is if you want to criticise Kepa, a lot of his shot percentages are very weak shots where they look like passes back to him. So, but having said that, he has made some outstanding saves also this season. So I'm playing pros and cons on each side. I'm being objective. Now, with regards to Ampadu, don't forget he made his debut when he was 17 for us. Truly a fetus, you know. He's a player that when you watch him play for Wales, he's good enough in the back line, but also as a defensive midfielder. And I'm not saying he's Yaya Toure, but his potential, he's technical on the ball. His first touch and his passing, his touch on the pass is beautiful. He plays beyond his years. He's got
his passing range.
Very much so. He's got a very high football IQ for someone of his age. I think if he could get the opportunity to be under Silva or Koulibaly's wing, or preferably both for 1 or 2 years, he would excel even more so. I think he fits this owner's profile, young potential, and he does have that. He's realistically about 6+ years away from reaching his peak. So it would be so premature to move him on, in my humble opinion. What I do see for him, what I have seen from him historically, is that he is a player that has a very high ceiling.
Yeah, I enjoy our keeper seller approach. We're not just dragging and dropping players to a certain bucket. We do analysis to tell you why I think a player we should try and keep a player or sell a player. So Ampadu, long-term future to the Blues until 2024. That was after he signed a contract in 2021 to extend his stay. But I think he was extended for 1 more year before he left for the current loan.
Okay.
I think he's a player we should keep. He's an excellent player, and his age shows we shouldn't even risk it. We shouldn't even risk it. Look at that, 22. He's played at the World Cup.
Coach, do you realize when he played his debut for us, he wasn't legally old enough to look at those ladies in the Valencia shirts?
Thank you. Thank you for that picture, and thank you for bringing up what Glenn said.
Just saying.
But I get it. I think,
Roger.
I think it's a player we should keep.
Honestly, bro. Honestly, mate. I love it.
We should keep him. But again, that's I don't know how they get such sponsors, but it's not my business to talk about that. DJ, were you saying something?
No, just Roger's response, mate. That's all it was. That's all.
Sorry, Coach.
Yeah, I won't.
But that's fine. I get it. You guys are conniving to make sure I don't make heaven, but I will.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say anything on top of what just Roger said and get your channel completely cancelled out.
Please
I
don't.
don't want to do that.
Listen,
no, but again, it's saying it in a very simple way, but still, let's avoid it.
Exactly,
I would be really upset. Seriously, I would be really disconcerted and upset if Ampadu is moved on prematurely. And
we shouldn't.
His upside is huge, Coach.
Yeah, we shouldn't. Yeah, we shouldn't. Coach, CFC will be sending a lot of players in the summer. Any chance that they need some help with making attractive YouTube videos of these players for creating hypes? Yeah, I think we should. If you're a Chelsea fan and you want a player out, go ahead, make again the clips of the players. Yeah, it will go a long way. Roger, I watched that game. The defenders weren't ball watching. If a defender sees the goalkeeper coming out, that's what they do is leave it to the goalkeeper. Kepa just keep flapping. Okay, let's see what we have here now. Keep up good work, boys. My first choice as a goalkeeper will be David Raya. What's your opinion on him? I don't know him that well. Anybody? I don't know him. Anybody on the panel want to talk about that?
Yeah, I forgot which team he plays at. I just saw him recently play. He's huge. He's really
Brentford.
big.
Brentford.
Yeah, it is
Brentford.
Brentford. He's got a massive wingspan. He's very similar to Mendy, but he is not good on the ball. And also I wouldn't say prone, that's really overstating it, but he's, shall we say, susceptible to the occasional blooper. Listen, look at City, Man United, and Liverpool's goalkeepers this season. They are top of the tier, and they've all made bloopers and conceded goals when they shouldn't have. Kepa hasn't really made a error where it's, shall we say, gone to conceding a goal. It's at least massively. He actually is playing better than on the average. I'm talking about. His errors are very minimal at best. So I rate Kepa, and I understand. And then we're not even going to talk about Tottenham's French goalkeeper, who's just a blooper reel, highlight reel. So no,
he's an actor.
Yeah, you guys are being too harsh on Kepa. I'm really pleased with his positioning also. Whenever he comes into the view, I look at his positioning. And it's the reason why he's able to save so many shots is because he puts himself in the right place at the right time. He's able to read the game.
Yes, he reads the game quite well, and that's one of the things that make him a there's been occasions where had they not come off his line, we would have been in serious trouble.
Oh yeah.
So again, I just wish people would take time and look at all those things, and then you can say weigh it against what they consider his mistakes and see if he's a good goalkeeper or not. I think he's an excellent goalkeeper for us. And I know there's a chance we get another goalkeeper that's even better than him, because no matter how you see it, his height will always come up as a discussion, being again as a problem. Let's see. That made my day. Glad that happened, brother Roger. I tip my fedora side. Okay. Santos seemed to be the guy. Santos is a different profile of player from Ampadu. Ampadu plays differently, and I think will go a long way for us. Panels full of closet freaks. Not me. Not me.
Freaks.
Tell them. Not me. They're just coming out, right? But more importantly, people, if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream. We need just 9 more likes to get it to 100, and I believe we can do that. Yes. And if you want to become a member, you can become a member too if you can afford it. It's $2.99 monthly. It will help us to start a program that we had planned to everyone do something for students. And again, there's also a plan in place for the panelists. We're going to do a giveaway for the panelists. I'm not sure if we're going to do it just where it is just the panelists alone. Or I don't know if we should involve those in. I think it should probably be the panelists alone. Some way of saying thank you to them for all their contributions, because I couldn't have done it alone. I must say the truth here. I think we are complete in backline. Also, I think we have enough defenders. I would add Kouadou Kone 21 in the squad, starting him on the bench for player in the defensive midfield area. He's cheaper and excellent specifically in the 4-3-3 approach. Then we decide to play that. If we decide to play that, to me, if the club are seriously looking to sign a defensive midfielder, my first choice is still Ismail Benesha, who extended his stay at AC Milan, but the buyout clause is 50 million euros. But the truth is, the buyout clause probably has to be active. It has to be active at the start. Maybe it won't be active until next year or at one point. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's really cheap. Keep Kepa, sell Mendy. Who is Ampadu? Lala Ampadu, he's a fine player. I know you don't know him as a Barcelona fan, but I will educate you a bit. He's again at 22. You see him show some leadership qualities that you see in a player that is 26 and up. He leads by he can play as he can play in the right center back position. Also, he can play centrally in the back line. He can also play as a DM. He's that kid. He's a fine player overall. Chelsea is linked with Kobo from Dortmund. Sorry?
Wasn't his father an international player also?
but maybe I know he's of Ghanaian descent. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't remember
Ampadu.
well.
I'm talking about Ampadu.
Yeah. I think
Ampadu's father played for Wales also.
Yeah, I think I want us to keep the kid. Plus, he's 22, but we don't. He doesn't have to be part of the squad. Maybe sell him with a buyback clause. Then that would be good for him. It's not hard to play for Wales, and with all respect, really. Sometimes your argument makes me laugh. You see, also, let me ask you: does he look like one of those players who signed because he's pretty? Eugene, you tell me. Sorry, I don't rate Kepa at all. Your decision. Look at the Tottenham first goal. I could have saved that. Come on, people, be real. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay. Coach, why on earth would you give the panel anything? Do you know how many own goals they've scored over the course of the season?
Leading scorer, mate. Leading scorer.
100%, yeah.
So nine
Most
more
assists.
people. Yeah, 9 more likes. 9 more likes to get it to 100 likes. Let's do it, people. 9 more likes. Funny. 9 more likes. And Glenn, Liam Lane, if you're watching, bro, just remember, we always remember you. I hope you're recovering as quickly as possible. Again, we hope to see you come back whenever you can. Ben Jacobs, Chelsea Chelsea want to see him at all costs. Yep, I've heard that before. Yeah. Is it a signing that's going to make sense? I don't know. But if they want him, who am I to blow against the wind? Let him get him. He's a fine player. I hope he works, and I like him. But I have my argument as to why he wouldn't be the right player for us to sign. Sorry, Roger?
Yeah, but will he fit into how we play?
Unfortunately, a lot of us don't pay attention to that. But that's the list of my concerns, because I could argue from now to tomorrow as to why I think he's not the man for us. The club will end up getting him. And what am I going to do about it? Nothing. So if they feel like they can make it, if they decide they want to get him, then they feel like they feel like they can make it work. And the rumors that Man City are also interested in signing Osimhen, it's all boo doo doo. What are they going to do with what's his name? What are they going to do with
Holland?
With Holland if they sign Osimhen? They don't differ.
To be honest with you, Kachilla, no one knows what Manchester City situation is going to be, because they've still got they're still under that investigation.
Yeah, exactly. Because Osimhen is going to come cheap. So how can you tell me they're looking at Osimhen? But go ahead, what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want to watch too much. I don't want to go too much onto it, because obviously we don't know the ins and the outs of it, or because there's a legal thing that's going on with Man City and whatever. But there is a situation occurring with Man City. I think this news broke last month. Was it 3 or 5 weeks ago? Saying they're being investigated for certain things, and they may have to have their prem titles and all that tarnished away from them. Could possibly get relegated. No one knows the situation until it does happen. We don't know. But as I said, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they are under investigation as far as I know, anyway.
There's some serious legal ramifications potentially for them.
Correct.
Serious,
there is.
They've broken so many financial fair play rules, allegedly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no one knows if they're going to be able to even get involved with the transfer window next season. Sorry, Kachilla. No one's even going to be involved in the transfer. Go on, mate. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. Again, here's the thing. If you're watching, we need how many more likes? 7 more likes to get it to 100. Let's push it. Let's get it to 100. Where will you play Ampadu mainly, though? Don't know if we have enough CVC. Yeah, maybe just get Ampadu, get what's his name, Levi Colwell back. Then we don't need to go spend money on defenders anymore. Ampadu as a DM, a better choice to me. He applies himself as a DM differently. He's not perfect yet, but he's just 22. I'd say again. Here's the thing. Keep also for me again, selling a player and having a buyback clause to me means we're keeping the player, because he's technically still a player. So if he gets to the level we think at the certain level, and we look at him and say, yeah, I think we want him back, we'll get him. We don't necessarily have to keep him on the team. In my argument for keeping includes selling him and adding a buyback clause. It's securing your asset. Kachila, remember Malangsa, hope he ain't coming back. I don't. If I say something now, Yahayu will say I fight for all players. I think we'll let him go too soon. But let's see if that's the case or not. Yeah, I remember him. How much electric current does our midfield need? I reckon an Ampadu.
Amp, get it?
His creativity is excellent. His creativity is excellent, and I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Since your boss sent you home for 3 weeks, I'm glad at least you're having fun. That will help you not think about it too much. More importantly, and sorry to hear that once more. Roger is always talking about how we play. Please, Roger, tell me how we play. This is how we play is a myth.
Okay, so how we play is, in the context I'm using it, I'm referring to the fact that we build from the back. Okay, so we don't kick the ball out as soon as it comes to a keeper or a centre back. We build from the back, very much like City, for instance. So this is ball retention and building up from the back. This is in the context with which I'm using that.
Well, at least even if you think we don't see a pattern right now, at least we can still see that one is really the way everything starts.
We've always done it for the last 4 or 5 managers, traditionally building out from the back, because we have had traditionally defensive players that are technical and good on the ball for the most part.
Yep, thank you so much for that, Kachila. But you don't laugh on my arguments that classic number 9 doesn't fit on our attacking, but you're laughing on some others. Good luck with that part. Eugene, what are you talking about? You want me when I see your comment, I laugh. You and I are on the same side. We've always argued we don't need classic number 9s. So, okay, you want me to laugh whenever? I don't know what to say about this, really. I think Eugene, please don't see it that way. I get it. You and I have made the same argument. Okay, sorry to disappoint you. Eugene Naughty is upset. Yeah, he is really. Thank you for being honest. I will be quiet now. But much love to you, Eugene. You and I, we've always argued the same. But what I said today is if the club are looking at him, I'm not going to argue against that. That was what I said. I have my argument, but we could argue from now to tomorrow. It doesn't change anything. If the club wants him, they're going to get him. That was my argument. Maybe they feel like they can make it work, if that makes sense. So I am not abandoning you. And you sound like you're 15. But I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's funny, really, but you know I respect and love you. Glenn's ball is moving like Graham Potter, given him...
No way.
Okay,
wow.
Lineker issue is an example of hypocrisy in white sports figures should really try and stay out of politics. Yep. I agree with you. Again, that is just the truth. Politics has encroached in our game, and I don't think it goes away. Roger building from the back. How does that impact a striker?
No, I was referring to a keeper.
Goalkeeper. Yeah, not a striker. He was talking about a goalkeeper. I don't take it serious. No, I'm not, bro. Much love. We know each other so well. So, but that's, by the way, I know you quite well to know how you operate. That's, by the way, I think we'll leave the argument for Carney Chukwuemeka. It wasn't, their case wasn't about keeper sell. Carney Chukwuemeka, Noni Madueke, Andre Santos. I think there's more. What's the Jamaican kid? I don't remember his name. Levi Caldwell.
This
and
team
also
is
Lewis Hall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll do a separate show with an argument as to where do they fit in the team. But your thoughts? We talked about yesterday. We talked about Loftus-Cheek, and we didn't think the club would let him go. It's a difficult one to say. We talked about Kovacic. And we talked about why it wouldn't make sense to let him go. We're already lacking spine. Our spine is already broken, which means letting Kovacic go would mean it will be broken to pieces if we do that. We don't have stability in that area that much right now. If we let Kovacic go, he leaves a gaping hole. We talked about a few players. You can go watch the video. And today, we see a reason why the club may decide to let Cho go. If he can take a pay cut, they may give him a chance. But if it's not going to take a pay cut, he's most likely not going to stay. Kepa Arrizabalaga, maybe his salary will be an issue. But how long does he have on his contract? I don't think if he has up to 3 years, I don't think the club will be in a hurry.
Cho?
No,
Kepa.
Kepa.
2 years, isn't
signed
it?
in 2018, and he has a 7-year contract.
Oh, God, yeah.
Was that a 7-year contract?
7-year contract in 2018. So
let me see when his contract expires.
25-26 is when it expires. He's got 3 years left.
He's got 3 years. Okay.
Yeah, so the club will not actually be in a hurry in its case right now. His contract expires in June 2025. Yeah, so the club will not be in a hurry to offer him something new, probably until 2025 is just 2 years. So they will try to see if he can extend.
No, it's 3.
And if he would accept the current contract structure. If he wouldn't, then they will decide to sell him, because this is the year. Next year, it will be difficult. Then we're in serious trouble.
It's 25-26. It's 2025 to 26, so it's 3 years.
Okay, what I'm looking at says his contract expires in June 30th, 2025.
Oh, June 30th. Oh, okay, my mistake.
No, maybe usually these guys are not correct.
Yeah, it says he signed in 2018. 7-year contract would be 25-26.
Wow.
And
okay.
I don't know if
go ahead.
There's any add-ons. And I don't know if there's any add-ons like a +1. I have no idea.
Okay. Why he was good, like a striker who makes impact from the bench. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Then we call. I'll find out anything else the panelists have to say, and we'll call it a day. Here are some very good sweeper keepers we can get if they wanted to get rid of Kepa. Raya, Robert Sanchez, Diogo maybe. Diogo. That's the Portuguese goalkeeper. Is he really a sweeper keeper?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
And how good is he with his feet?
He's not bad. He's not bad at all, I have to say.
No, he's not that good like you think, and he doesn't fit. Okay.
I think
let me see. That's not me. I'm just reading what I had in the screen. I wasn't responding to you. Roger, I was talking about Osimhen, and you said, does he fit how we play? Hence the earlier questions. Okay,
I see.
But I like the civility in our discussion. Nobody's taking it personal here. Don Potter, big up to you too. I hope you're doing well. Did Potter play for England?
No.
Sorry.
His avatar, or is that Gascoigne? I'm not sure who I'm looking at. I'm excited about Nkunku, and I know his character will not be a problem. RB Leipzig knows to buy players. Werner is evident and never angry and always gives the best. Yep, that's the truth. Good argument there. The GOAT is playing. Okay. And Vadio is good, boy. So I'm not worried about Nkunku's character. Okay. RB Leipzig know how to buy players with good behavior. Okay. The keeper I would love to see at Chelsea to buy is Martinez of Aston Villa, a World Cup winner.
No.
You sure his performance at the World Cup isn't clouding your judgment? Like every other aspect of his game. I want to know. Marco, is it Canasechi 22? Octopus from Cremonese. Okay, and cheap. He's cheaper also. He was worth lots of money for 1 year. So you guys thought 4 more likes to get it to 100 likes. We can do that. But let me get this from my bro. The coach asked if Potter play for England. You trolling. No, look at the avatar from Don Potter. He does that. He uses only avatar of Potter.
That's funny.
But that's, by the way, big up to you, bro. Yeah, that's a no way. Even if the reason is that photograph of Martinez. Okay. DJ, your final thoughts on everything with the buy or sell, keep or sell players we've talked about. Your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I think like we said, I think we covered quite a lot on that, Kachila. I think we've all made our views and opinions on the plays that were mentioned today. I think we've had our views on Cho and Ampadu, in particular. And I've said it. I said it all along. For me, Cho, if he can come back next season. In the pre-season and see what he can do before making a decision on him. And I'll say the same thing about Ampadu as well. I wouldn't just let these players just go just like that. Let's see what they can do, because come rain or shine next season, if we are playing in all competitions next season, we will need a big squad. And I get some players will need to leave, but we'll also need to get some players that need to stay as well. So we will need to have a squad for next season. As for the Kepa and Mendy situation, I think I've said it already. I never said for once that Kepa should be sold. I said that I was hoping, I wanted Mendy to stay because I think he's a good goalkeeper. But if he's not going to sign his contract, then yeah, by all means, then he'll have to go. And Kepa would have to stay. But do I think Kepa's the guy for us going forward as the number one choice? That I have question marks over. But we'll have to see where we go next in the summer. What goalkeeper we're going to buy if we decide to buy one.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And here Don Potter says, yeah, it's Potter, and he played for England when he was young. Okay, so okay. I said the picture looks like Potter. But that's, by the way, our question for the panel: a goalkeeper who stops 95% of long balls, and that's who's good at playing from the back. Choose one. Wow.
Declared's comments.
Can you give me some time to think about it?
Big up Declare, by the way, in his comments.
Look, give me some time, Chelsea, out of the way. I'll answer that question tomorrow. Martinez is good. They can be better with a strong defense. Every keeper can be better with strong defense, which he might not be enjoying at Aston Villa. That makes sense. Cho needs a Premier League loan to a club like Crystal Palace next season. Yeah, then we can review his situation after loan. Okay, I think of to play for his.
That's why I was laughing at that.
Yeah, I like that one. I think about to play for his university.
Big up to Declared, by the way.
Where he did his short course. Yeah, big up to you, Declan. Much love to you, brother. I hope you're well. Cho doesn't have he's gonna finish a low shot and all that. Big up Declan. Yeah, everybody. Much love to Declan there. Much love to you. So Roger, your final thoughts so we can call it a day. But I like that from Declan. He played for his from his school or his university. Yeah. Yeah, your thoughts, Roger.
And the next comment.
I haven't read it.
I'm still laughing, yeah.
St. Potter. And then the beautiful game has to end it all. Sorry, Roger, for interrupting you, brother. I'm so sorry.
Don't ever.
I'm just like the comments are just making me laugh. They're beautiful game at Hogwarts, right? Declared.
Go on, Roger. Please, I got it. They're killing me now.
Goodness me, sorry. The comments are just God. Honestly,
question is, did he graduate though? So listen, I agree with virtually everything you said. But I actually don't have a problem with Kepa being our future, assuming he maintains the form he's in, at a consistent level. I'm talking about. So that's
and improving areas that people complain about, right?
Yeah, of course, and I think there's a strong possibility he will improve, given the fact we've got 3 goalkeeping coaches on the pay roll. Yeah. So I have no problem with that. And even if he doesn't, and he just maintains the form he's in, I think we can advance deep into competitions, if not win some. And I think we can win the league with him in goal. I really do. Mm-hmm. I think he's that good on a consistent basis. I agree with virtually everything we said. I'm just worried that we don't have a fire sale, at the end of this season, because you're right, Coach. We do need the experience, especially in the spine of the team. We can't just sell people like Kova and so forth on a whim.
We shouldn't.
These players are integral. You can't have a squad of 25, 26 players with 22 of them being 22 or younger. It just doesn't work that way. Otherwise, every team wouldn't have any veterans. It's that simple. So we need to have what I would call a balance in our squad. I think Chelsea has tremendous depth and quality in all positions on paper. And I think we have to be judicious with who we acquire and who we sell. And I think they have to decide on players have their upside, but more importantly, are team players and willing to work hard. And I think that should be the deciding factors in whom we keep.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. Yeah, he played at Hogwarts for for his college team. Bayern Munich are overloaded with players. Coach, you and I will have a beef. Look at Bobby accusing me if you keep wanting players to leave and weaken Chelsea only to strengthen already strong rivals. No, that has never been my argument. What we would been doing, and I'm sure you're aware of it, maybe you're trying to turn your gang against me, of DJ and Roger. What we do, we bring up a player's name, we'll analyze the chances of that player leaving or the chances of that player staying, or whether it makes sense to let that player go. And virtually all the players we've actually agreed we shouldn't sell them. In the case of Ampadu, we're talking maybe a loan or maybe sell him with an option to buy him back if he's not going to have a place to develop well at Chelsea. Throw the same thing. So, Bobby, okay, maybe a beef would be good for the show. Trusted Potter since day one. Okay, fortitude to the panelists, fortitude. Big up to you, Rahayu, the 343 Dynamo. Much love to you. Yeah. I like him so much. He was probably at work. He's not that active today. Potter met Havertz best. I think, let's see. I wouldn't say Havertz is best at this point. He's showing good form, and long may that continue. CFC fans can afford to have a discussion about whom to sell. Give me a thought of a fans of other club, Messi. Yeah, again, good to do. Good to contribute that there. Who in the top 10 would you choose Kepa over? I don't know. That's an answer I can give you. I am very picky in terms of goalkeepers.
Virtually all of them.
Yeah. And because I'm very picky in terms of goalkeepers.
Because he's been more consistent than them this season.
Yeah, and it's numbers don't. They say numbers don't lie, and he has actually shown that he's been excellent for us between the sticks. If you're watching, guys, just 3 more likes to get it to 100 likes, and we can get there. If what Kepa is doing now is called form, and we can win the league with him, God help us. Well, I know we see things differently, but let's see what happens, guys. Are you Potter in or Potter out? I don't have to answer that.
It's too early.
It's too early for me to answer.
Too early. I don't have to answer that. I have questions, yes. The club could be better. My boss, GP, hits me with a lunch break button today. And all the questions. I feel bad for you, but bro, stay strong. Havertz been our best player attacker for a few games right now. Reece James, Enzo, and Nkunku, only three players who will be unreplaceable. Is that unreplaceable? I don't know. Some orders are older, and some orders are not good enough. Okay. Bless up the club. Missing you on the panel. Yep, he's been busy. I do talk with him. He's my bro, by the way. Potter is ex-player with 307 appearances at left back, including Southampton among his clubs. We're talking about representing England. That was the argument.
He never
but that's, by the way, thank you for providing that information. Yeah. With that, I'm going to say thank you to the panelists who had the time to join today. Roger Pop, as you can see, that's his Twitter handle. Roger, and then PUPP. Please do follow him. Thank you to DJ. It's been an excellent show, an enjoyable one. The internet behaved itself today, and we don't have too much problem. Let's hope Leipzig can help. It can slap City tonight, so they can concentrate on running down Arsenal. Neil, I hope that happens. I don't want Arsenal to win the league. Really, Union told me to be patient. It's a long process. At least you have a union. Yeah. At least you have a union. I don't want to say anything about Potter. I don't want to look stupid more. Also, apologies to Roger for cooperating in chat and laughing him for Potter lawyer thing. Accept apologies. You're too kind, man. I don't think Roger cares.
But the check's in the
Roger,
mail.
do you care?
Yeah. What? The check's in the mail.
No, but Eugene, you got to remember, Roger is Potter's lawyer. Yeah, so you can't say nothing bad about
he remains Potter's lawyer.
Bad.
But Eugene, much love to you, brother. Yeah, that doesn't change. Big up everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, guys. After record of the worst managerial start in recent Chelsea history, it's not too early. But you've still told us before, you're not Potter out, you're the owners out. So you're going to make sure you make clear we have clarity on where you stand, bro. And Potter in. Okay, thank you for answering. Potter was a decent player. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Rahayu. The 3-4-3 dilemma. Man City can win the title again if they can possibly lose all of them in the future. Wow. Oh, okay. Apologies for laughing on his side. It doesn't matter. You can laugh on Roger all you want. Believe me, I'll protect you. He will not do anything to you. Roger will be fine. He has skin like a 1917 match ball. Yeah, he will be fine.
Oh, that's too cute.
Thank you so much for an excellent show. And we've hit 100 likes. We can, again, add a part into it because Google can sometimes minus some. With that, I want to say thank you to all of you for finding the time to join the show. It's been an excellent show. See you guys next time. God bless us all. And a cheers. And by the way, there's a chance we'll have the evening show today. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Up the Chelsea, everyone. Peace out.
Up the Chelsea. Let's go. Let's go, you Blues.